Chapter 152. Xiaohan had finally grasped the meaning of the third style of the seven-fragment saber technique, the will-shattering form. It was breaking down and building up. After the saber intent was completely shattered, it underwent a nirvanic rebirth, causing the saber intent to soar to a whole new level. From initial success to middle success. It was a huge leap in transformation. Middle success meant that the saber Dao was not limited to anything. Grass, wood, bamboo, stone, air, water, everything in the world could be used as a saber. This level was also called saberless. It meant that the saber Dao was more powerful than the saber Dao. Now, I can easily kill a strand of my saber intent at the middle success realm, and it can travel 10 times faster than the speed of sound. Also, my thinking speed has greatly improved. My mind is clear and flawless. Just a casual look from him can turn into a saber that can kill people. Xiaohan looked at Xiafeng calmly. Of course, the middle success realm was not the perfect saber intent. Above it was the great success realm, where a strand of saber chi could kill people from 10,000 miles away. Above the great success realm, there was the legendary saber intent enchanting. At this realm, one could open the gate of the saber world and receive the ancient saber soul. It was said that one could kill immortals at this realm. However, it was unknown whether or not anyone in this region had reached the god myth level. Xiafeng. Xiaohan said slowly. What do you say now? How about you kneel down and kowtow to me, and I will let you live. Right, you have to shatter your own sword intent. That way you can barely survive. Now, Xiaohan's saber intent was on par with Xiafeng's middle sword intent. Moreover, it was on the spiritual level. No one was suppressing the other anymore. It was a very subtle state. They were on equal footing. How dare you? Xiafeng's face was slightly twisted. Xiaohan. You are indeed lucky to be able to break through the barrier between heaven and man and reach the middle success realm. But what right do you have to insult me? The middle success realm and the middle success realm are neck and neck. Besides, my sword Dao is the Dao of invincibility, the Dao of absolute victory. It is the Dao of heaven. I will shatter your saber intent again. I'll consign you to eternal damnation. In the void spectator stand. All the old fogies and experienced swordsmen were excited. Great. For the southern territory to be able to give birth to a monster like Xiaohan, it was truly a blessing. This little guy may represent the southern region and suppress the younger generation of the eastern region and the great wilderness in this year's Devil Hero trial. I heard that in this year's Devil Hero preliminaries, once you stand out, you will become a Devil Hero. There would be generous rewards. More than any previous generation. The bald old man said with a flushed face. Some old antiques. Everyone nodded in agreement. Umph. A cold snort came from Mingjian Villa's villa master, Shimin Piaoxue. Xiaohan is really arrogant and ignorant. This seat thinks that he's a complete villain intoxicated by success. Wu Yu looked at Shimin Piaoxue with an unfriendly expression. Manor Master Shimin, a vile person is intoxicated by success? I think that Xiaohan is a genius. Why do you say that he is a petty person who is intoxicated by success? The bald old man looked at Shimin Piaoxue with some displeasure. He was lucky enough to comprehend the middle stage sword intent. Not bad. But Xiafeng also has the middle stage sword intent. The two of them are evenly matched. Xiaohan actually dared to say that he wants Xiafeng to destroy his own sword intent, as if he would definitely win against Xiafeng. It is still unknown who will win. He is too early to be complacent. If this isn't a petty person intoxicated by success, what is? Shimin Piaoxue's tone was full of dissatisfaction and sarcasm. Ah. Shimin Piaoxue, that's why I said that you are ignorant. Wu Yu laughed. I also admit that when the middle stage sword intent goes up against the middle stage sword intent, no one can gain the upper hand. It can be a draw. But sword cultivators are strong in offense and weak in defense. Xiafeng is focused on the sword. Other than the sword Dao, everything else is not worth mentioning. His realm is not high either. As for Xiaohan, his body is as strong as a beast in human form. His fist technique has the power of the emperor. Shimin Piaoxue, what do you say? Shimin Piaoxue was dumbfounded by this sentence. Many old antiques nodded. Yes, Xiaohan had all kinds of trump cards. Compared to him, Xiafeng was indeed lacking in variety. The great Sun Emperor's eyes flashed with killing intent. On his forehead, blue veins appeared like dragons. In the audience seats. In the sect seats. Junior brother Xiaohan. This is unbelievable. Junior brother Fang Ling, junior brother Xiaohan only has a 1 in 1,000 chance to advance from initial success to middle stage saber intent. However, junior brother Xiaohan has grasped such a small chance. Dong Fangqin was as excited as a child. Junior brother Xiao Han is famous. With his current combat strength, Xiao Han is already comparable to some unranked heroes. Fong Ling nodded. In the arena. I Xia Feng, am proud of the world, the heavenly sword is invincible. My sword is the heavenly Tao. Xiao Han, even if you have comprehended the middle stage sword intent, you still can't go against the heavens. You can only accept the punishment. Xia Feng drew his sword again. In his eyes, there was a sword chi that could destroy all the negative emotions, leaving behind the will to win. The heavenly sword. Xia Feng slashed out again. This slash was like a deluge of heavenly flowers. Golden lotuses appeared on the ground, showing a faint law of the heavenly Tao. The heavenly might was furious. The firmament collapsed. Now Xiao Han's thoughts could completely keep up with Xia Feng's sword and sword intent. He also slashed with his saber. The sword will and the sword will clashed against each other. Streaks of saber light and sword light tore through the void like lightning. Xiao Han activated the broken jade style and sky-shattering style, trying to forcefully break Xia Feng's sword momentum. But this is almost impossible. The two of them were evenly matched in terms of concept. Indeed, neither of them could gain the upper hand. The entire arena was filled with flashes of blades and shadows of swords. The battle between the two was extremely intense, and it was hard to determine who had the upper hand. I can't defeat Xia Feng with saber intent alone. Never mind, I'll just charge forward. Now, my saber will is on par with his sword will, which gives me a chance to get close to him and use the most primitive method to tear him apart. Xiao Han licked his lips. Just then, Wang, his heart throbbed. The seal with traces of the 7-fragment saber technique was triggered, and 2 cocoons of light leaped out. 7-fragment saber technique, 4th form. Emotion-shattering form. 7-fragmented blade technique, 5th form. Desire-shattering form. Shatter the 7 emotions and 6 desires without sorrow or joy. He was unfazed by favors or insults. The saber slashed out. Transcend the mortal and enter the divine. Once Xiao Han comprehended the desire-shattering form, he unexpectedly obtained the profound meaning of the 4th and 5th forms of the 7-fragment saber technique. For a moment, Xiao Han temporarily gave up the idea of fighting Xia Feng in close combat, and his mind was immersed in the various secrets of these 2 forms. The saber intent and the sword intent intertwined and strangled each other like a violent storm. Divine rainbows and red clouds blossomed in all directions. The violent saber chi and sword chi poured onto the light curtain that covered the arena. Ripples spread out from the light curtain. Xiao Han and Xia Feng were in a complete stalemate. In the void stand. The two seemed to be tied. The bald old man frowned. I've said it before, Xiao Han doesn't have the strength to crush Xia Feng. The master of the Mingjian Peak, Shimen Piao Shui, said coldly. Moreover, Xia Feng is at the 4th level of True Qi and Xiao Han is at the 3rd level of True Qi. If this continues, Xiao Han will lose. Of course you can judge it as a draw. My Mingjian villa has no objections. In fact, Shimen Piao Shui really hoped that Xiao Han and Xia Feng would stop fighting. In fact, Shimen Piao Shui knew that no matter what, Xia Feng couldn't defeat Xiao Han anymore. At least not now. A draw? The bald old man gathered many old antiques and began to discuss in a low voice. Sect Master, it's strange. Why doesn't Xiao Han use other methods? Now that his saber intent is on par with Xia Feng's sword intent, he can take the opportunity to get close and use his physical strength to crush Xia Feng. Xiao Mingchu was puzzled. Let's keep watching. Xiao Han is already in an invincible position. Wu Yu's eyes were full of admiration and gratification. In the arena. 7 emotions, joy, anger, sorrow, joy, love, evil, desire. 6 desires, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. The emotion-shattering stance and desire-shattering stance of the 7-fragment blade art are to forget the 7 emotions and 6 desires, to forget victory and defeat, to forget honor and disgrace, in order to make this strike flawless and pure. To reach the realm of transcendence and sanctity. To be able to completely ignore the 7 emotions and 6 desires, the power must be very great. It can become a saint, it can defy the natural order. Xiao Han began to concentrate on these 2 saber techniques. Joy, anger, sorrow, fear. Nose, shatter the 7 emotions and 6 desires and release all the energy, battle intent, and saber intent in an instant. Xiao Han thoroughly understood the profoundness of these 2 saber techniques. However, it was not that easy to shatter the 7 emotions and 6 desires. Currently, Xiao Han could be considered to have shattered the joy and anger of the 7 emotions. The eyes and ears of the 6 desires. Alright. Although this slash isn't perfect, it's more than enough to defeat Xiaofeng. A peerless saber light flashed across Xiaohan's eyes. At this moment, Xiaohan, you can't defeat me. I can't defeat you for now. How about this, we can stop for now. 3 years. After 3 years we will fight it out. Xiaohan, you are very good. You are lucky to be the enemy that I, Xiaofeng, have sworn to surpass in these 3 years. It is your honor, Xiaofeng said seriously. Let's stop. We can't decide the winner. Hee. Xiaohan's lips curled into a smile. Wrong, Xiaofeng, you are going to lose. You are going to lose right now. And let me tell you, even if I don't defeat you today, you will lose in 3 years. There will be no more suspense. What? Xiaofeng's eyes almost popped out of his head. How dare you? Xiaohan, I, Xiaofeng, have slept for 4 years and obtained the inherited memories. Cultivating sword arts is as easy as eating and drinking. 3 years is more than enough for me to comprehend an invincible sword art. It is even possible for me to improve my sword intent to the great success level. Wrong? All wrong. Xiaohan shook his head slightly. You put too much emphasis on winning and losing. Therefore, not to mention 3 years, you will never be able to reach the divine level in your entire life. What? This sentence caused Xiaofeng to be completely stunned. His heart instantly showed a trace of weakness. On the platform in the void. Alright, this round is considered a draw. Both of them will advance to the next round of the group of death. The elders discussed for a while and the bald elder finally made the decision. Right at this moment, wait. Xiaohan slashed out with his saber. This slash. Everyone watch. One of the elders exclaimed in shock. On the stage, Xiaohan slashed out with his saber. This slash shattered the joy and anger of the 7 emotions, the eye and nose of the 6 desires. This saber strike brought all of Xiao Chen's energy, battle intent, and saber intent to the peak, unleashing them to their limits. Boom! The slash swept out. It was like a waterfall, like a rainbow, like a divine ray. This slash was magnificent, its saber light illuminating the world. Countless strange phenomena appeared. Flowers bloomed and withered, the wind blew, the clouds scud, the wind and thunder, the dragon, the tiger, and the black tortoise all appeared. Demons and gods easily vanquished. The aura of this slash was extremely powerful. As the saber intent spread out, it could devour mountains and rivers, sweeping through the 9 continents. However, strangely enough, this slash did not have a strong murderous intent. Instead, it had a trace of the aura of the Tao. Wherever the saber light passed through, all the space, time, and light were subdued and collapsed inward. Impossible. I, Xiaofeng, cannot be defeated by you. This slash had forced Xiaofeng to a dead end. An emotion that he had never felt before appeared in his heart. Failure. The flaw in his mind was getting bigger and bigger. Go to hell. Heavenly sword. Light of judgment. Xiaofeng also used his ultimate sword technique, his sword intent surging wildly. The saber and the sword collided. Puchi. An indistinct cracking sound rang out with a loud rumble. The next moment, the arena was filled with fragmented sword light that looked like fireworks. Puff, 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 puff. The remaining sword intent aimlessly cut through the air, making a loud explosion. Bang! Suddenly, Xiaofeng knelt on both knees, the sword intent in his eyes shattered. Blood flowed out from the corner of his eyes. The sound of sword intent being crushed is very pleasant, isn't it? Xiaohan chuckled and immediately retreated from the arena. The audience was silent. Xiaofeng's sword intent has been crushed. Someone shouted. In an instant, the audience was in chaos. On the void viewing platform, that slash crushed Xiaofeng's sword intent into pieces. The bald old man swallowed his saliva. We are still one step too late, causing Xiaofeng's sword intent to be destroyed. I'm afraid a genius has fallen. To be continued. Chapter 153. Xiaohan had shattered a small part of the 7 emotions and 6 desires. He launched a heaven-defying blade attack, which forcefully crushed Xiaofeng's sword intent. Then he left the battlefield. Clean and neat. Xiaofeng was crawling on the arena, trembling in fear. He was howling. His eyes were filled with blood. His sword intent had been crushed into powder and could no longer be recovered. This man was ruined. Everyone was in awe. Of course, Xiaofeng didn't regenerate his sword essence like Xiaohan did. He was a complete loser and was carried off the arena. In the spectator stand. Sigh. A group of old fogies looked regretful. We were still a step too late. Xiaofeng was crippled by Xiaohan. As a result, the southern region has lost a genius. Yeah, losing a genius like Xiaofeng in the preliminaries is really a waste of God's gift. Forget it. The bald old man waved his hand. It's nothing. Maybe Xiaohan was right. Xiaofeng cared too much about winning and losing, so he couldn't reach the peak of sword principle. Xiaohan's attack seemed to have reached the realm of forgetting his emotions and desires. How should one put it? This battle had caused Xiaohan's name to shake the southern domain, and he had undergone a tremendous transformation. Xiaofeng helped Xiaohan achieve his goal. Without Xiaofeng, Xiaohan wouldn't have become so powerful in such a short time. Forget it, Xiaofeng's contributions can't go unnoticed, so let's give him some compensation. Let's continue. Xiaohan. The manor lord of the Mingjian villa, Shimen Piaoxue, suddenly stood up. His eyes were completely filled with blood, and the sword intent around his body was like the sea. He clenched his teeth and wanted to kill, as if he was grieving for his parents. Xiaohan. This child actually crippled my Mingjian villa's future sword god. Humph. Wu Yu snorted and looked at Shimen Piaoxue indifferently. Enough. Shimen Piaoxue. If you don't want to stay here and watch the competition, get out of here. Then get out of here immediately. The bald old man's face was sinister. Restrain your qi. Don't be rude here. A few powerful auras enveloped Shimen Piaoxue. It directly covered Shimen Piaoxue, causing him to wake up in an instant. He looked at Xiaohan, who was sitting in the death group's seating area, with eyes full of resentment, and sat down without a word. In his eyes, he began to incessantly conjure up some schemes and plots. In the death group. Xiaohan suddenly felt as if someone was staring at him from afar. It even made Xiaohan feel a strong killing intent. This was the transformation of Xiaohan's mind after his sword Dao reached the middle stage. He had a mysterious and inexplicable premonition towards potential dangers and murderous intents. It was like a sixth sense. Xiaohan's expression did not change as he lifted his head to look at the viewing gallery in the empty space. Soon after, he laughed involuntarily. Looks like someone is very unhappy with me after crippling Xiaofeng. Brother Xiao Yu? Fatty Zhu came over. You're invincible. Brother Xiao. Boss Xiao, how about I follow you in the future? You're too strong. You can even regenerate your saber intent after it's shattered. Furthermore, you're even able to comprehend the mid-stage saber intent. Fatty really admires you. Boss Xiao. Alright. Brother Zhu. Xiaohan was speechless. Fatty Zhu even pushed him repeatedly. A charming smile appeared on her face. Brother Zhu, I was just lucky enough to comprehend the intermediate saber intent. It's not worth mentioning. Brother Xiao, you're really amazing. Mo Qingtong observed Xiaohan over and over again. Soon after, she burst into laughter. I can't see through you. Until now, Qingtong still can't see through Brother Xiao. Her smile was so charming that it was almost like a witch's charm. She was a natural stunner. When Xiaohan used his saber skills, he could destroy a part of the 7 emotions and 6 desires, reaching the supreme realm of being emotionless and desireless. But normally he was still a normal man full of vigor. When facing a beauty like Mo Qingtong, Xiaohan could not help but feel a little restless. But fortunately he was able to suppress this desire and not embarrass himself in front of Mo Qingtong. At this time, the competition in the group of death continued. Xiaohan had become the first contestant in the group of death to advance to the top 11. Thus, he was happy to relax and quietly watch the other contestants compete. At the same time, he nurtured his spirit. Just now, the saber that crushed Xiaofeng's sword intent had almost drained Xiaohan's spirit. His spirit was exhausted and even his saber intent was tired. He needed a good rest to recover. But now, Crown Prince Hualai looked at Xiaohan with a very complicated gaze. This kid actually crippled Xiaofeng? Damn it. In the beginning, his combat strength wasn't that strong and I could easily torture him to death. However, after each battle he was able to improve. Until now, when he defeated Xiaofeng, I don't even dare to say that I can win against him. And? If we let him continue to grow, one day he will become the #1 of the young generation in the southern region. At that time, it will be very difficult for us to catch up to him. We must kill him in advance. Otherwise, how can we have the chance to stand out? Won't we be crushed to death by him? Crown Prince Hualai's eyes began to brew a trace of thinking and conspiracy. The following matches in the group of death were more valuable. After all, those who could fight to this extent in the group of death were not weaklings. In this round, Mo Qingtong's opponent was very difficult to deal with. It turned out to be a 4th-level True Chi expert who used his True Chi to form the starry sky wings. Mo Qingtong fought with this person for half an hour before she seized the opportunity to release the great heavenly devil world. She directly pulled her opponent down from the sky and firmly suppressed him. Mo Qingtong entered the top 11 of the group of death. Ji Rushui's opponent was not weak, but Ji Rushue was even stronger, almost to the point of being a complete mess. As soon as she entered the stage, she took out the wordless heavenly book and struck down a howling wind formation, trapping her opponent in the formation. Wind and sand swirled and wind, fire and thunder surged together. Her opponent only lasted for a dozen breaths before all his true chi was obliterated. He could only kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. So strong. Fatty Zhu involuntarily looked at Xiao Han. Indeed very strong. I really don't know how many formations are contained in her wordless heavenly book's true chi cultivation method. Xiao Han also frowned. Ji Rushue was once regarded by Xiao Mingqiu as the most difficult to deal with among the top 10 seeded contestants. With Xiao Mingqiu's ability, it was impossible for him to speak nonsense. Brother Xiao, perhaps in the group of death only you can defeat Ji Rushue. Mo Qingtong said with a serious expression. Xiao Han quickly shook his head. Fatty Zhu also defeated his opponent in the next battle. He obtained a place in the top 11. Next was Crown Prince Huolai. In the fierce battle, a blazing sun floated above his head. In the blazing sun, a 3-legged golden crow poked its head out. With a slight breath, supreme heavenly fire descended, turning the entire stage into a sea of fire. Tens of thousands of rays of sunlight shot down, heavy chanting and Zen sounds rang out everywhere, and illusions appeared. Everywhere collapsed, causing the opponent to be burned to ashes. This Crown Prince Huolai was also extremely powerful. In the end, the group of death decided the 11 strongest contestants. The competition was nearing its end. In the final 11, one lucky person would be drawn out in the next round, and then 5 people would advance from the 10. Finally, it was time for the top 6 to advance to the top 3. At most, there were still 2 matches left. Xiao Han's gaze swept across the 10 opponents other than himself. Among them, the stronger ones were Crown Prince Huolai and Ji Rushue. Mo Qingtong. Of course, Xiao Han vaguely knew. Fatty Zhu had always been putting on an act, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. In fact, his true battle strength was unfathomable, and he could not be underestimated. Xiao Han did some calculations in his heart. Then, the corners of his mouth pulled into a faint smile. No matter who I meet, they can't erase my confidence to move forward. However, Fatty Zhu and Mo Qingtong have some personal relations with me, and they are also good to me. It's best not to meet them in the last 2 rounds. I don't want to fight with them in the arena. Next was the competition of the other groups. The competition of the other groups was also nearing its end, and they were basically in the top 5 of the 10. Xiao Yunrong and Hui Yang, whom Xiao Han was concerned about, had also entered the top 5 of their groups without mishap. I hope they can always be lucky, Xiao Han thought to himself. The qualifiers are about to end. Everyone is in the final sprint. The Death Group competition. The top 11 of the Death Group all stood up, arms crossed as they looked at the void stands. Brother Xiao, I hope we don't meet, Mo Qingtong said softly as if she was whispering, making one's bones itch. That's right, Boss Xiao, Fatty doesn't want to meet you either. You're too strong. If I meet you, Fatty has no chance at all. Fatty Zhu smiled foolishly. But now no one can say for sure. The 11 of them will draw their opponents, and the probability of drawing anyone is very high. It's a gamble of luck. In the previous round, Fatty got a bye, which meant that Fatty's luck was good. In this round, the top 11 would advance to the top 6, and there would still be a bye. Fatty had a premonition. Maybe this bye would fall onto Fatty's head again. Fatty Zhu, if you really draw a bye again, then I can't help but suspect that your old Fatty is secretly playing tricks. Mo Qingtong glared at Fatty Zhu. Fatty Zhu only smiled foolishly. According to the order, Brother Xiao will be the first to draw an opponent. Not long after, an old and dignified voice rang out from the void. The Death Group, the top 6 of the 11 will be randomly drawn. Beacon Fire Empire, Pure Cloud Sect, Xiao Han. This round, Xiao Han will draw a bye and directly enter the top 6. Ah? It's me? Xiao Han was astonished. I directly entered the top 6? Congratulations, Brother Xiao. Mo Qingtong also seemed to be relieved. At least Qingtong won't have to meet Brother Xiao in this round. Fatty Zhu looked like he was about to cry. Fatty did not draw a bye. Brother Xiao, it seems that Fatty's luck has turned to Brother Xiao. All right. Every dog has its day, Xiaohan smiled. Brother Zhu, stop pretending. With your battle strength, as long as you don't meet a few seeded contestants, you still have a chance of entering the top 6. And? He actually drew a bye? Crown Prince Hualai looked at Xiaohan from the corner of his eyes. In fact, his eyes were filled with joy and relief. Like Imo Qingtong, Xiaohan getting a bye was, in fact, a good thing for them. Currently, among the contestants in the death group, no one wanted to fight Xiaohan. Of course, Ji Rushui might be an exception. On the void viewing platform. And my luck is not bad. I entered the top 6. Wu Li was also relaxed. Group of death. After drawing a bye, Xiaohan had already sat down while the other 10 people were still standing nervously, waiting for the announcement of the draw. A voice rang out from the void once more. Lingshan Empire, number 1 aristocratic family, Ji Clan, eldest daughter, Ji Rushui, versus Blazing Sun Empire, Giant Sword Sect, Zhu Hu. Ah? Fatty, you better pray for your own good. After hearing the draw, Xiaohan jumped up and patted Fatty Zhu's shoulder. Fatty Zhu burst into tears. My condolences. Imo Qingtong smiled at the side. Oh right, Fatty, thank you for drawing the strongest one away for me. You're really a good person. You're the good person. Your whole family are good people. Fatty Zhu said with tears in his eyes. To be continued. Chapter 154. Fatty Zhu, who had always been a yes man and almost wretched, had actually drawn Ji Rushui. This caused many in the audience to look at him gloatingly. Although Fatty Zhu was able to smoothly enter the top 11 of the group of death and was recognized as a dark horse in the southern region qualifiers, no one thought that he could pose any threat to Ji Rushui. The young woman Ji Rushui was publicly recognized as a dangerous person. She was unfathomable. Her battle strength was not inferior to Xia Feng's. Moreover, her true energy cultivation method was a wordless heavenly book. Some people even thought that it was an incomplete, immortal technique. In the audience stands. Xiaohan has already passed the bye and entered the top 6 of the group of death. The other spot has already been decided. Is Ji Rushui? Yes. Ji Rushui will occupy one of the top 6 spots. There's no suspense. In the void stands. 2 of the top 6 have already been decided. One is young Xiaohan, the other is Ji Rushui. A few old antiques nodded. Ji Rushui is as calm as still water. She has the demeanor of a great expert. The bald old man also admired Ji Rushui. Sect Master, it seems that little Fatty is going to be eliminated. Xiao Mingqiu leaned back in his chair and stretched comfortably. Ha! Wu Lu smiled mysteriously. He then looked at a middle-aged fatty not far away. The fat middle-aged man was sitting steadily with a simple and honest look on his face. His eyes were very small, hidden in the folds of his chubby flesh. They rolled around and emitted a bright light. That was Fatty Zhu's father. The current sect master of the Giant Sword Sect of the Blazing Sun Empire, Zhu Ganglai. Mingqiu little Fatty's father, Zhu Ganglai. You've heard of him? Wu Lu smiled lightly. Zhu Ganglai of the Giant Sword Sect of the Blazing Sun Empire? He's famous for being wretched. Xiao Mingqiu glared. Sect master, I heard that this Zhu Ganglai is a hero of the same generation as you. He's best at sneak attacks, setting traps, and pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Hiding a knife in his smile. Zhu Ganglai participated in the Devil Hero trial with me. A look of reminiscence appeared in Wu Yu's eyes. This guy is completely shameless and likes to pretend to be a nobody. I remember that during the Devil Hero tryouts, there was a test question. In the Western Region Desert, a team of thousands of people had to hunt down a demon emperor. In the end, only 5 people survived and Big Fatty Zhu was one of them. Moreover, the final sword strike that killed the demon emperor was Big Fatty Zhu's handiwork. Later on, I heard that this fellow pretended to be dead from the beginning. When the demon emperor's demonic energy was almost depleted, he suddenly made his move and crushed the demon emperor into a bloody mist. TSK Mingqiu, do you think the son of such a person would be easy to deal with? Oh? So powerful? Xiao Mingqiu was stunned. Zhu Ganglai, come here. Wu Yu laughed loudly. Oh, Brother Wu. When the middle-aged fat man heard Wu Xiao calling him, he immediately jumped up. His face was full of flattery, and he almost wanted to kneel down and lick Wu Xiao's feet. Fatty immediately rushed over, nodding and bowing. Aya, Brother Wu, you called me little brother? Heavenly Devil old man, you're here too? Come on, Fatty, don't give me that. Heavenly Devil old man laughed and scolded. It's been so many years, do you think I don't know your character? Your son is now going to fight with Ji Rushui for a spot in the death group competition. Fatty, tell me the truth, how confident is your son? I have no confidence at all. Fatty beat his chest and stamped his feet. Little Tiger is my youngest son. He has been ignorant since he was young. He likes to relax and hates work and is always sloppy. No, he will be defeated in one move when fighting against an expert like Ji Rushui. All right, Fatty. Wuyu smiled faintly. There should be a 50% chance. No, how can there be a 50% chance? Fatty shook his head repeatedly. 60% chance of winning? Wuyu frowned. Brother Wu, don't joke like this. Fatty still shook his head. 70%? Wuyu's expression turned serious. Brother Wu, you really talk nonsense. Fatty suddenly looked around, then lowered his voice and said, Brother Wu, don't be so loud. Be quiet, 80%? Wuyu and Heaven's Devil old man said at the same time. Fatty no longer shook his head. His eyes flashed, his fists clenched, and he said with a trembling voice, Brother Wu, Heaven's Devil old man, this little brother's ancestor's grave is emitting smoke. It wasn't easy for me to give birth to such a son. You must not make a fuss. In the future, the giant sword sect will rely on my son to bring glory to the sect. I understand. Wuyu nodded in agreement. Fatty, congratulations. Sure. Fatty made a shushing gesture and then grinned. Brother Wu, this little brother and you were in the same Devil Hero selection competition. Thanks to Brother Wu's guidance and saving my life several times, this little brother was lucky enough to become a Devil Hero. After so many years, Brother Wu and this little brother are both old. Now, it is the world of the younger generation. This time, Brother Wu's proud disciple, Xiao Han, will participate in the Devil Hero selection competition with this little brother's son, little Fatty Zhu. I hope that the young Xiao Han will take care of this little brother and support little Fatty Zhu. Wuyu nodded. Fatty smiled foolishly a few times and then walked away. Sect Master, 80% chance of winning? Zhu Ganlia's son has an 80% chance of winning against Ji Rushui? How is that possible? Xiao Mingchu's face was full of disbelief. At least 90% chance of winning. Wuyu said solemnly. Zhu Ganglai, you can never count on him to know everything. With my understanding of him, his son has at least a 90% chance of winning and entering the top 6. Ji Rushui is about to be eliminated. On the stage, Ji Rushui, who was dressed like a widow, stood weakly on the stage. Her figure was slender, her eyebrows were lightly swept, and her teeth were like those of a rhinoceros. The faint sorrow between her eyebrows was enough to break anyone's heart. Big sister Ji. This little brother is Fatty Zhu. Please take care of me. Fatty Zhu stood in front of Ji Rushui with a silly smile and cupped his hands. His actions were very comical. Ha ha ha, this clown. The audience burst into a wave of laughter. Fatty? Admit defeat. Admit defeat yourself so you don't get beaten up. Some of the audience whistled as they mocked. Little Fatty, don't pretend anymore. Ji Rushui smiled gently. I know you have a trump card. I won't let my guard down against you. Alright, let's begin. Boom. As soon as she finished speaking, 10,000 rays of true qi rushed out from Ji Rushui's body and soared into the sky. In an instant, these rays of light intertwined and a heavenly book that was several acres in size appeared out of nowhere. The heavenly book was steaming with a faint heavenly wind. There was the sky, the earth, the ocean, the lake, the hills, the valleys, the countries, and all living beings. One by one they appeared. There was a vast aura of civilization rolling on the heavenly book, as if it was spreading the truth in civilization. Suddenly, the heavenly book opened up and was instantly majestic. The wind blew for thousands of miles and countless figures appeared on it, revolving around the heavenly book. These figures emitted an otherworldly aura. All of them stepped on auspicious clouds, their heads were above the sky, and their hands were like hooks, tearing the sky apart. 9 Lion Immortal Suppression Formation. With Ji Rushui's shout, the heavenly book flipped to the first page, and an array formation directly descended, enveloping Fatty Zhu. The moment the array formation descended, a total of 9 lions appeared in all directions. The 9 lions rose together, completely surrounding Fatty Zhu in the middle. In the next moment, the 9 lions roared at the same time, and 9 golden halos immediately appeared. They pierced through the space inch by inch, and the array formation shone brightly. The 9 halos broke through the illusion and headed straight for the heart. They exploded together, causing the world to tremble. The lion roars from all directions rang out incessantly. In the audience stands. What a powerful array formation. The power of this array formation is enough to destroy the entire arena. Fatty Zhu is dead for sure. I didn't expect that Ji Rushui, who looks weak and harmless, would be so violent and merciless when she fights. Let me tell you, Ji Rushui just lost her husband. How can she be in a good mood? Don't you see the murderous aura between her brows? Fatty is in trouble. In the arena. Oh. Fatty Zhu howled miserably. At the same time, a beam of light shot out from his body. It was as straight as a sword and tore through the void. An obscure pressure came down from the void. The next moment, boom. A gigantic sword over 300 feet long fell from the void. This sword was not formed from Fatty Zhu's quintessential chi, but more like a real object. It was completely black and seemed to be carved from some extraterrestrial meteorite. It possessed endless destructive power and even had the illusion that it could pierce through the stars in the sky and crush the sun and moon. The gigantic sword came crashing down like the blue sky was collapsing. Pfft. Ji Rushui's first array formation was actually crushed by the gigantic sword. Humph. Ji Rushui snorted coldly and flipped to the second page of the heavenly book. Myriad Sword Absolute Kill Array. In an instant, the entire arena and the void were filled with densely packed sword beams. Some of these sword beams were shaped like fish, while others were shaped like birds. They swam around, shaking their heads and wagging their tails. The next moment, boom, 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 boom. These sword beams slashed down towards Fatty Zhu like a dense rain, as though they wanted to stab Fatty Zhu into a hornet's nest. Fatty Zhu screamed and hid behind the gigantic sword. The gigantic sword was instantly riddled with holes from the sword chi that resembled gossamer threads. In the audience stands. Ah. Fatty Zhu is going to lose this time. Hurry up and admit defeat, or you'll be shot into a sieve. Ji Rushui's sword array is really powerful. However, swoosh, 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 swoosh. 4 beams of light shot out from Fatty Zhu's body. Each beam of light pierced through the sky and tore open a gap. The next moment, boom, 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 boom. A total of 4 gigantic swords descended like a sovereign descending upon the world, suppressing everything. Each gigantic sword was over 300 feet long. They were dark and heavy, and each gigantic sword could shatter mountains, shake stars, and crush space in all directions. The 4 gigantic swords descended together, blasting the arena into pieces. Ji Rushui's face paled as a ray of light appeared beneath her feet, causing her to fly into the sky. Fatty, I don't want to play anymore. You're too powerful. Fatty doesn't want to play with you anymore. Fatty Zhu wailed. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. One after another, beams of light shot out from Fatty Zhu's body, tearing open gaps in the sky. Every time a gap was torn open, a gigantic sword would descend. In a breath's time, a total of 20 gaps appeared in the sky. 20 gigantic swords slowly descended, causing the atmosphere of the entire Sunset Mountain to become oppressive. The mountain began to shake as though it was about to disintegrate. It was in imminent danger. In the audience stands, all the spectators were dumbfounded. In the void stands. What? Little Fatty Zhu can actually summon so many gigantic swords? The bald old man cried out in surprise. Great! This little fatty. He hid it so deeply. So powerful to such an extent. With these dozens of gigantic swords pressing down, Sunset Mountain will collapse, right? Xiao Mingqiu was dumbfounded. Gaga gaga? Zhu Ganglai laughed on the other side, appearing extremely coquettish. In the seats of the group of death, all the contestants stood up and looked at each other. Their faces were filled with shock and bewilderment. This damn fatty really knows how to act. Mo Qingtong gritted her teeth in hatred. Even Ji Rushui is not his match. Brother Xiao, we've all been tricked by him. As for Xiao Han, he was in a state of deep thought. Suddenly, Xiao Han slapped his forehead. I know. What do you know? Mo Qingtong frowned. I know how to break Brother Zhu's move. Xiao Han smiled and sat back down. How do we break these gigantic swords? Mo Qingtong's eyes flashed as she approached Xiao Han. Brother Xiao, tell me, how do we break this damn fatty's trump card? I can't say it, I can't say it. Once I say it, the power of Brother Zhu's cultivation technique will be greatly reduced. Xiao Han shook his head and immediately smiled. All right, Ji Rushui has admitted defeat. Brother Zhu has entered the top 6. In the void stands. This year's Southern Region qualifiers, the biggest dark horse has appeared. The bald old man was inexplicably excited. Our Southern Region is really full of talents this time. There's the youth Xiaohan before us, and now there's this little fatty Zhu. Ah. This old man has high hopes for the two of them. In the main competition they will suddenly emerge as a new force. Suppress all the heroes with their skills. Chapter 155. Facing the sky full of giant swords that could explode at any time, the oppressive atmosphere made Ji Rushui want to vomit blood. Ji Rushui had no choice but to take the initiative to admit defeat. Although she was extremely unwilling, the situation was stronger than her, so she could only leave with hatred. Fatty Zhu advanced into the top 6 of the group of death. He returned to his seat with a silly smile. Brother Zhu, congratulations. You've also entered the top 6, Xiaohan said with a smile. Fatty, you're really good. Even Ji Rushui was defeated by you. Mo Qingtong squinted at Fatty Zhu. Luck, it's all luck. Fatty Zhu looked like a stupid pig. Fatty was almost scared to death just now. Ji Rushui's formations were endless, so Fatty had to fight to the death. Brother Xiao. Mo Qingtong suddenly looked at Xiaohan coquettishly and exhaled. Just tell me how to break Fatty's move. You know, right? This can't be said. Xiaohan quickly said. Miss Mo, it's better if you don't ask. Ah? Boss Xiao, do you know how to break Fatty's move? Fatty Zhu's eyes flashed and he said nervously. Xiaohan smiled noncommittally. At this time, a deep and aged voice came from the void. It was Mo Qingtong's turn to go on stage. This time, her opponent was a woman with 4th level true qi and a fierce palm technique. Brother Xiao, you will tell Qingtong sooner or later. Mo Qingtong stood up, the silver rings on her body made a light sound, eroding the bones and the demonic sound lingered. With a flash she flew into the stage. Crown Prince Hualai looked at Fatty Zhu, his thoughts fluctuating. There was Xiaohan and now there's a damn fatty. Mo Qingtong is not easy to deal with. I wonder if I will encounter one of them in the top 6. On the void viewing platform. Now, many of the experts were still immersed in the battle between Fatty Zhu and Ji Rushui. Little Fatty Zhu hid his strength too deeply, almost as monstrous as Xiaohan. In the next round it will be interesting if little Fatty Zhu and Xiaohan fight. From what I see, little Fatty Zhu's monstrous level is even higher than Xiaohan's. Yes, little Fatty Zhu can summon a large number of giant swords. Each giant sword is powerful enough to suppress thousands of ancient swords. A mountain range can be flattened and a city can be easily razed to the ground. I'm afraid Xiaohan is not this little fatty's opponent. Sect Master Little Fatty Zhu's technique is indeed unique. It seems to be using his own true qi to communicate with a special space and summon the giant sword. Xiao Mingqiu frowned as he pondered. Each of these giant swords has a strength of several 100,000 cauldrons. They are no small matter. Giant swords with hundreds of thousands of cauldrons of power. From Little Wu. Legend has it that the giant sword sect was founded in ancient times and has a long history. At its peak, many elders worked together to open up an independent space and stored large amounts of giant swords inside. Little sect in Little Fatty time, it 1 and 10 giant sword time. However, it was extremely difficult to communicate with an independent space. It seemed to have something to do with the density of his bloodline. Even with Zhu Gonglie's tyrannical true qi cultivation, he was only able to summon 7 giant swords. Zhu Little Fatty, on the other hand, perhaps due to his ancestral bloodline atavism, was able to easily communicate with the independent space created by his ancestor with a cultivation of level 4 true qi and summon dozens of giant swords. This could be considered a strange thing. A descendant of the giant sword sect like Little Fatty Zhu is indeed hard to come by. Sect Master, this disciple is worried that junior brother Xiaohan will encounter Little Fatty Zhu in the next round. Xiao Mingqiu said with a grave expression. The competition to advance to the top 3 is especially crucial. Junior brother Xiaohan can't afford to make any mistakes in the final step. Otherwise all our efforts will be wasted. Ha ha ha. Wu Li laughed involuntarily. Mingqiu, the giant sword sect's giant sword summoning technique is very strong, but its weakness is also very obvious. As long as we grasp this weakness, we will be able to suppress it. If my guess is correct, Xiaohan might have already discovered the only flaw in this technique. A flaw? Xiao Mingqiu pondered. After a few breaths, he broke into a smile. Ah. Sect Master, this disciple also understands. So that's how it is. On the stage, the matches of the group of death had all ended. The top 6 were born. Xiaohan, Fatty Zhu, Mo Qingtong, Crown Prince Hualai. Apart from these 4, there were 2 sect disciples with slightly weaker combat strength. In the next round, the group of death would have a final battle. 3 out of 6 would be decided and 3 spots would be decided. Everything would be settled. Among the top 6, the 4 with the strongest combat strength were Xiao Han, Fatty Zhu, Mo Qingtong and Crown Prince Huolai. However, there were only 3 spots, which meant that among these 4 at least one would be eliminated. Mo Qingtong's demonic eyes swept across and thought, as long as I don't touch Brother Xiao and Fatty Zhu, I will definitely get a spot. Crown Prince Huolai is not my opponent. Fatty Zhu laughed foolishly while pondering. If I touch Brother Xiao it will be the worst. If I touch Mo Qingtong it will be the best. If I touch Crown Prince Huolai it will be the best. Crown Prince Huolai's eyes were ferocious. Damn, Fatty and Mo Qingtong are not easy to touch. Although Xiao Han has comprehended saber intent, his realm is far from mine. There are 3,000 great Daos, not only saber intent and sword intent are the best. My great Sun Heart Sutra is not to be trifled with. If I must touch someone then I will touch Xiao Han. It will also fulfill one of Master's wishes. Xiao Han thought, the one I want to touch the most is Crown Prince Huolai. Last time, if not for eldest senior brother's appearance, I would have been captured by the great Son of Heaven and would have suffered all kinds of torture, living a life worse than death. Now, my strength is far from the great Son of Heaven, but it should not be a problem to deal with his disciple, Crown Prince Huolai. I will kill his disciple in the arena in front of the great Son of Heaven to relieve the hatred in my heart. Thinking of this, Xiao Han could not help but look at Crown Prince Huolai. Coincidentally, Crown Prince Huolai's eyes also swept over. Their eyes met, creating a thick smell of gunpowder, smoke filled the air and murderous intent overflowed. Xiao Han, you better pray that you don't draw me, otherwise I will make you beg for death. Crown Prince Huolai sneered. I want to see if I kill you, what kind of expression will great Son of Heaven have? Xiao Han retorted. The competition of the other groups. According to the rules, at this stage of the competition of the other groups would have to decide the final 3, and then it would be the group of death. 99 groups, one by one, would decide the top 3, and the 3 places in the main competition. Every time a place in the main competition was decided, the audience would burst out in cheers. Xiao Han still put his attention on Xiao Yunrong and Hui Yang. As for whether the others obtained the places in the main competition, it had nothing to do with Xiao Han. Xiao Yunrong's group. 5 people fought for 3 places. One of the places would be decided by drawing lots. Then, 4 people would fight and the other 2 places would be decided. Xiao Yunrong was blessed with luck, and was directly drawn, becoming the lucky one who was doted on by thousands. First, she obtained a place in the main competition. She cheered on the arena, and tears of excitement flowed down her cheeks. With her realm and battle strength to be able to reach this stage it was really not easy. Of course there was also a big factor of luck. But no matter what, she had entered the main competition, and had the basic qualifications to become a devil hero. Hui Yang's group still had 5 people fighting for 3 places. They also first drew a lucky one. But Hui Yang was not as lucky as Xiao Yunrong. The lucky one in this group belonged to a rogue cultivator from the Soul Mountain Empire. In the 2-on-1 battle, Hui Yang, who had taken a precious medicine that overdraft his life potential, used all his skills to defeat his opponent, and also obtained a precious place in the main competition. But Hui Yang and Xiao Yunrong were different. For this place, Hui Yang had sacrificed too much, and now even overdraft his life, with only 10 years of lifespan left, like the sun setting in the west. Soon the top 3 of the 99 groups, excluding the group of death, were all decided. A total of 297 places in the main competition. 297 young geniuses had obtained the ticket to enter the main competition. Perhaps, among these 297 people, there would be an all-powerful hero whose name would shake the mountains and rivers in the future. The group of death. The top 6 contestants all stood up. Brother Xiao, it's the last round, I hope we can all be lucky. Mo Qingtong smiled charmingly. Yes. Xiao Han nodded slightly. Now the 6 people were very nervous. No one wanted to make a mistake in the last step and cause a complete loss. On the void viewing platform, all the powerful experts and old antiques also stood up. Wu Yu, Xiao Mingqiu, and the Heaven's Devil Old Man also stood up. It's about to end. The Heaven's Devil Old Man smiled. This is probably the most intense qualifier I've ever seen. There's nothing else like it. Especially the group of death, it's brilliant. The young people are all very outstanding, comparable to some of the unranked devil heroes. Alright, everyone, the last 3 places in the main competition will be decided from the 6 contestants in the group of death. Just now, this old man has already communicated with the invigilators of the other regions. The East region, North region, and West region, all the places in the main competition have been decided. Only our South region's last 3 places are left. And our side is almost there. The bald old man smiled as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. Yes, let's start drawing lots. The entire place was silent. Even a pin drop could be heard. The group of death, 6-3. The first match, Beacon Empire's Cloud Sect's Xiaohan vs. Blazing Sun Empire's Sun God Palace's Sun Emperor's first disciple, Huolai. The second match, Dark Shadow Empire's Sky Demon Sect's Emo Qingtong vs. Black Dragon Country's Iron Spear Sect's Feng Wuxian. The third match, Blazing Sun Empire's Giant Sword Sect's Jianghu vs. Beacon Empire's 8 Wind Palace's Tu Xiong. On the void viewing platform. Ha ha ha. The Heaven's Devil old man was completely relaxed, shaking his head and laughing. Qingtong has gotten a place in the main competition. In fact, before this old man thought that Qingtong would be able to get first place in the group of death, but who would have thought that there would be dark horses like Xiaohan and Little Fatty Zhu. Now, to be able to get a place in the main competition, this old man is satisfied. After all, Qingtong is still a bit young, she still needs to be polished and trained. Zhu Ganglai was also jumping around. My fatty has gotten a place in the main competition. Xiao Mingqiu. The Sun Emperor's face was extremely serious. Looks like our bet will be revealed today. My disciple Huolai will definitely kill Xiaohan. Those who fall into the Demon Dao will be doomed eternally. Whether or not to fall into the Demon Dao is not up to you, the Sun Emperor. Xiao Mingqiu retorted. I have faith in junior brother Xiaohan. Do you think that only Xiaohan has a trump card? Don't look down on Huolai. Let's wait and see. The Sun Emperor snorted coldly and said no more. Xiaohan, let's fight on the stage. You think you are a genius, but today you will be stepped on by me, the Crown Prince Huolai. Crown Prince Huolai turned into a blazing sun and shot into the stage. The whole stage was bathed in golden light, the sun was shining brightly, it suddenly became sacred, and there was chanting and chanting. Ah! Crown Prince Huolai, I never thought that my last opponent would be you. Good, just as I wished. Xiaohan turned into a sharp blade light and shot into the stage. Chapter 156. The first match of the death group was between Xiaohan and Crown Prince Huolai. Because of the 2 remaining matches, the disparity between the strong and the weak was too obvious. Mo Qingtong and Fatty Zhu each had a place in the main competition. Therefore, everyone's attention was focused on the battle between Xiaohan and Crown Prince Huolai. This battle could be said to be the highlight of this year's Southern Region qualifiers. In the arena, Crown Prince Huolai was dressed in white. Every step he took caused lava to boil and volcanoes to erupt. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were filled with arrogance and conceit. He looked down on everything. A golden light appeared in the depths of Xiao Chen's eyes. A blazing sun slowly rose from the top of his head, radiating sunlight everywhere. A 3-legged golden crow lay quietly in the blazing sun, its aura as deep as the sea. All 42 true acupoints went berserk, and every single one of them was like a volcano that could destroy the world. Crown Prince Huolai stood there amidst the boundless flames. His true energy seemed to have been tempered and strengthened. Each strand of true energy was constantly being reformed within the flames. The shape and quality of his true energy were becoming more and more perfect. Crown Prince Huolai's entire body emanated an aura of perfection, as if there were no flaws or weaknesses to be found. Xiaohan quietly stood in front of Crown Prince Huolai. His undying golden body surged with golden light, and the word treasure and runes revolved around him. Xiaohan's strong flesh shell allowed him to stand steadily on the arena that was already filled with flames. He would not be harmed. Xiaohan, in the end you still fell into my hands. Crown Prince Huolai was overbearing as he stared at Xiaohan. I Huolai am a heaven-warping genius. In this life I must become a demon hero. No one can stop me. Whoever dares to stop me, I will destroy them. Once I get rid of you, I'll be able to participate in the main competition. I'm really looking forward to it. Xiaohan was as calm as still water, but his eyes were filled with an uncontrollable battle intent. You and your master are both so annoying, Yi Zichen said. In the auditorium, many of the audience were also discussing fervently, what do you all think of this battle? If Xiaohan could defeat Xia Feng, wouldn't Crown Prince Huolai be tortured to death by him? I don't think so. Crown Prince Huolai had 42 true acupoints opened in his body, and his true qi was at the 5th level. Throughout the history of the southern region, it was rare to see someone in their early 20s at the fifth stage of true qi. In terms of cultivation, Crown Prince Huolai could be said to be the strongest in this southern region qualifier. Furthermore, he was the disciple of the Great Sun Emperor and cultivated the Great Sun Heart Sutra. Do not underestimate Crown Prince Huolai. Before this, Crown Prince Huolai had not met any experts. Along the way he won easily, causing others to misjudge and think that Crown Prince Huolai's battle strength is ordinary. In reality they are completely wrong. Yes, Xiao Han's true qi is at the 3rd level, while Prince Huolai's true qi is at the 5th level. The gap between the two is not small. Moreover, Xiao Han had risked his life to carve out a bloody path, so he had consumed a lot of energy. Especially after defeating Xiaofeng's saber attack, his mental energy was almost drained, and his saber intent was exhausted. As for Crown Prince Huolai, he waited patiently. It was impossible for this battle to be one-sided. In fact, Crown Prince Huolai might even gain the upper hand. In the seats of the Pure Cloud sect. Junior brother Fongling, what do you think? Dong Fongqin asked. Wuxia reminds me of the great son of heaven when he was young. In time, Wuxia will be another great son of heaven, showing off his abilities and commanding the world. But now that he met junior brother Xiao Han, when two tigers fight, one will definitely be injured. Fongling frowned. At least, junior brother Xiao Han still has the demon race's secret technique as his trump card. Therefore, no one dares to say that they can win against junior brother Xiao Han. On the void viewing platform, the great son of heaven's expression was nervous and resentful. He was burning with hatred, and his eyes were like the scorching sun. Hateful. This Xiao Han, although he had a fortuitous encounter 2 years ago, he was just an ant, a small aphid, not even comparable to dregs. I can kill hundreds or thousands of him with a flip of my palm. But now he is actually on par with Wuxia. Great son, we can't let this kid grow any further. The Dragon Bone Saint Saber said with deep meaning. All along, the number and quality of the demon heroes of our Blazing Sun Empire has been able to suppress the Fire Beacon Empire. We can't lose to the younger generation. Don't worry, my disciple Wuxia will torture Xiao Han to death. The great son of heaven nodded heavily. On the stage, Xiao Han, you have learned a lot, but it is mixed and impure. Today I will let you see what true power is. Crown Prince Huolai laughed sinisterly and suddenly attacked. Great Sun Heart Sutra, Great Sun God Fist. Boom! A fist the size of a few mu directly hammered down towards Xiao Han. This fist was shining with golden light, as if it was sculpted from the sun. There were many talisman characters and pictures engraved on it. It was grand and magnificent, and it was surrounded by flames. This fist seemed to be able to communicate with the world of flames. Its power was like the roar of a demon god, suppressing everything under the heavens. The 42 acupoints on Crown Prince Huolai's body spewed out lava at the same time. The stage shook and all the airflow was ignited. Right now, those with slightly weaker cultivation, even if they stood on the stage, would instantly be melted into steam, not to mention blocking Crown Prince Huolai's attack. Even an opponent at the 4th level of true qi could not withstand the temperature of the stage. Xiao Han was at the 3rd level of true qi. Logically speaking, he should have been instantly melted. But his flesh was too strong, and his indestructible golden body had been trained to an extremely high level. Thus he remained calm. With just this bit of ability you want to suppress me? Xiao Han's heart slightly moved. Xiao, a strand of supreme saber intent condensed into a 2 zhang long saber light. It cut through the void, destroying the heavens and the earth, and directly chopped towards the golden fist. Pooh! The middle stage saber intent was indeed unstoppable. With just a slight cut, the golden fist was sliced into pieces. Everything collapsed. The saber intent did not weaken, and directly crushed towards Crown Prince Huolai. The saber intent continuously spewed out unparalleled saber energy. The surrounding flames and sunlight were continuously disintegrated. Wherever the saber light passed, a whirlpool would appear, producing a suction force that completely absorbed the flames. This caused the saber light to gradually transform into a flaming saber. Xiao. The saber intent cut towards Crown Prince Huolai. Xiao Han began his counterattack. However, the saber intent that could reach 10 times the speed of sound in the air, under the dense flames and sunlight of the stage, was actually met with great resistance, and its speed was greatly reduced. Moreover, Xiao Han's mental power had yet to recover, causing the power of this saber intent to be unable to reach its peak state. It was somewhat weakened. Ha 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 ha. Crown Prince Hualai's right hand grabbed the saber intent. Puchi. This strand of saber intent was crushed by him. There are 3,000 great Daos. You think that just because you have comprehended saber intent or sword intent, you are invincible? Ridiculous. My Great Sun Heart Sutra is a peerless godly technique that Master found in an ancient ruin. Destroying saber intent and sword intent is nothing difficult. All of Crown Prince Hualai's true meridians began to move. Every true meridian spewed out endless magma. Above his head, a flame monarch's shadow appeared, ruling over the world of flames and descending upon the world of flames. Xiaohan. It's over. Suddenly, within the blazing sun above Crown Prince Hualai's head, the three-legged golden crow opened its eyes and let out a cry. With a flap of its wings, it flew out from the blazing sun and flew towards Xiaohan. This three-legged golden crow's body instantly expanded to 12 acres in size. Its entire body shone with a dazzling light, even exceeding the brilliance of the sun. The heavens and earth were swept up by waves of fire and sunlight, and the pressure was overwhelming. Numerous deities appeared, put their palms together and chanted Sanskrit. Boundless flames were burning, volcanoes were erupting, and magma was wreaking havoc. There was also the sunlight that could deliver all living things from suffering, exploding everywhere. Even the sea could be evaporated in an instant. Crown Prince Hualai was born with a fire attribute physique, and was able to display the Great Sun Heart Sutra to its fullest. Wherever the three-legged golden crow passed, the entire space would emit crackling sounds, causing cracks to spread everywhere. This move was so terrifying. In the spectator stands there were cries of shock. Crown Prince Hualai truly lives up to his reputation. This move is too tyrannical, it has the power to destroy the world. This is the suppression of realms and true qi, causing Xiaohan to be at a disadvantage. The Great Sun Heart Sutra is indeed powerful. Once Crown Prince Hualai reaches the 6th level true qi, he will start expanding his meridians, and his attack power will increase crazily. On the stage. This is your strongest attack. Break for me. Xiaohan's will was as hard as a boulder, immortal and indestructible. Facing Crown Prince Hualai's fierce attack, his heart was like still water, unperturbed and calm. Hong. First, the 30 true meridians in Xiaohan's body released a cold, icy light. A 10-zhang long hornless dragon scuttled out from Xiaohan's body, spewing out icy cold air, causing the ice crystals on the stage to fall. This hornless dragon profound ice true qi lowered the temperature of the stage. Although the hornless dragon was quickly melted by the three-legged golden crow, it also consumed a bit of the three-legged golden crow's power. Xiaohan did not hesitate to exhaust his hornless dragon profound ice true qi in order to lower the three-legged golden crow's destructive power. Next, Xiaohan's flesh shook, causing the heavens and earth to collapse. His 800,000 cauldrons of flesh was released. Destroy. My flesh is boundlessly tyrannical, as deep as the ocean, surging like the tide, breaking all techniques. I don't care what Great Sun Heart Sutra you are, I will destroy them all. Xiaohan leapt out and punched the three-legged golden crow. The power of this punch was like a million volcanoes erupting at the same time, stars falling to the ground and wild beasts reviving. This punch caused Xiaohan to surge with a crazy confidence that the heavens and earth were in his grasp. As he punched out, a destructive storm of energy gushed out from Xiaohan's fist. Peng! The three-legged golden crow was stuck in the air by Xiaohan's punch, spasming non-stop. Furthermore, Xiaohan's body was surging with golden light, causing the three-legged golden crow's power to be reflected by 20%. In the next moment, the three-legged golden crow actually began to disintegrate and disintegrate. In the audience, Xiaohan's flesh is as powerful as the ocean. Too powerful. A single punch destroyed Crown Prince Hualai's attack. With his flesh, tearing apart a great luan with his bare hands is like playing with a toy. On the stage. Good. Crown Prince Hualai shouted good 3 times. Flesh and body tempering technique, both are not bad. This forced this Crown Prince to use my ultimate move. Alright Xiaohan, this Crown Prince has never used this move before. Now, I will use it on you and let you die a worthy death. In the next moment, Hong, the three-legged golden crow shattered into countless golden fragments that were all absorbed by Crown Prince Hualai's body. Following that, the blazing sun above Crown Prince Hualai's head also shattered, turning into rays of golden light that flowed into Crown Prince Hualai's body. Crown Prince Hualai's aura began to rise. It was unstoppable. His body also began to grow inch by inch. A layer of golden light began to appear on the surface of his skin. It was dazzling, making him look like a golden Buddha. Hong. Crown Prince Huolai's aura doubled. Hong. Crown Prince Huolai's aura doubled. Hong. Crown Prince Huolai's aura tripled. What? Crown Prince Huolai's strength and quality of his true chi doubled. What kind of godly technique is this? If it continues to grow like this, how strong will it be? The spectators were all boiling up. Void viewing platform. Great Sun 9 Heavens. Great Sun Heart Sutra's ultimate move. Great Sun Son of Heaven laughed steadily. Attack power increased by 9 times. Just a mere Xiaohan, I can pinch him however I want and abuse him however I want. Oh? So it's this move? Powerful. Great Sun, this Great Sun 9 Heavens caused Huolai's 42 true meridians to burn all the Great Sun's true chi, instantly increasing his attack power and aura by 9 times. It was almost enough to sweep away anyone in the realm of 5th level true chi. Of course, he would be extremely exhausted after this and would need a long time to recover. Dragon Bone Saint Blade nodded. And when the time comes, let Huolai consume some treasured medicine to recover. Great Sun Son of Heaven's wisdom was in his grasp. Sect leader, Huolai, this kid actually learned Great Sun 9 Heavens. Xiaoming Chu's pupils shrunk. This is the last move of the Great Sun Heart Sutra. I have personally witnessed Great Sun Son of Heaven burning his true chi, increasing his battle power by 9 times and killing a demon emperor. Could it be that senior brother Xiaohan is going to be defeated in the last battle? Let's wait and see. Crow's face tensed up. On the stage. Increase in aura and attack power? You want to go all out? Fine, I will play with you. Xiaohan was not afraid, sticking out his tongue and licking his lips. The next moment, ho! Activating the Emperor's true chi, a 10-zhang long true dragon flew out. The Emperor's aura could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. Next, Puchi. The true dragon combusted. It turned into a dazzling pillar of light, rolling into Xiaohan's body. Xiaohan's aura instantly increased. Xiaohan's true chi royal robe, the sun, moon and stars, the mountains and rivers, all rolled continuously, his aura rising steadily. He pointed at the sky and stomped on the ground, his battle intent surging. His entire body radiated a destructive, unstoppable, terrifying power. With a slight movement of his body, ghosts and gods would be destroyed. Xiaohan's aura and true chi quality, true chi strength, also increased by 2 times. 2 times. 2 times. 3 times. The Emperor is furious. Igniting the Emperor's true chi, I have 30 true meridians, increasing my true chi strength and aura by 30 times. What? Xiaohan's strength and aura are also increasing crazily? Heavens, these two are going all out. Amazing. Too amazing. Peerless Tang Sect's latest chapter. Chapter 157. Xiaohan and Crown Prince Huolai both ignited their own chi, using it to increase their battle strength. Crown Prince Huolai's Great Sun 9 Heavens ignited all the Great Sun chi stored in his 42 acupoints, increasing his battle strength by 9 times. Divine light like the sea. Xiaohan's dragon face was furious. He ignited all the Emperor's chi stored in 30 acupoints, increasing his battle strength by 30 times. His aura was like that of a tyrant. When the Emperor was angry, the mountains and rivers turned into ashes, everything turned into powder. In an instant, the entire stage was like a raging storm. Majestic mountains and rivers. Magnificent waves. Majestic aura. The entire audience was silent. Void viewing platform. This article is from, Xiaohan, this kid actually knows how to burn his true chi to increase his battle prowess? The confident expression on the face of the Emperor of the Great Sun froze in an instant and died in the womb. His voice also trembled slightly. Great Sun, don't be impatient. The Dragon Bone Saint Blade trembled. Huolai's chi is at the 5th level, Xiaohan's chi is at the 3rd level. Both ignited their chi, but the quality of Huolai's chi is 2 levels higher than Xiaohan's. Moreover, the Great Sun chi is not something ordinary chi can compare with. Sect leader. Junior brother Xiaohan ignited all of his Emperor's chi, increasing his battle strength. Xiaoming Chu's eyes shone brightly. Junior brother Xiaohan's aura is too strong, shaking the heavens and earth, unparalleled. TSK. This fellow has too many trump cards. The heavenly devil old man shook his head at the side. Alright, Xiaohan will definitely win this round. Wu Li calmly picked up a cup of fragrant tea from the table and started to savor it. On the stage. Xiao Han and Crown Prince Hualai had already ignited all their qi. Both of them were wrapped in golden light, looking like ancient golden giants. Their aura was so strong that it could swallow everything, dominating the wilderness. Above the arena, an illusory image of a blazing sun appeared, standing tall against the illusory image of the Son of Heaven, standing as equals. Xiao Han. Crown Prince Hualai's voice was as powerful as an ancient demon. To think that you also ignited all of your qi. But it's useless. I am at the 5th level, you are at the 3rd level. The gap between us is enough for me to crush you. Trash. Dong dong dong, Crown Prince Hualai stomped on the ground as he walked towards Xiao Han. He wanted to crush Xiao Han. So what if you're at the 5th stage of true qi? So what if the quality of your Jinqi is better than mine? When I burn the Emperor's origin true qi, it's several times more powerful than burning the Spirit Turtle's true qi and the Hornless Dragon's profound ice true qi. Moreover, with a 30 times increase in true qi strength, I don't believe I can't smash you to death. Xiao Han fearlessly walked towards Crown Prince Hualai. Both of their auras were raised to the peak. Moreover, they didn't want to use other methods to kill each other. They wanted to use pure violence to crush each other. Only then could they vent their hatred. In the auditorium. My God. This was like a duel between two primordial giants. Both of their powers are unimaginably terrifying. I'm afraid even the arena will be destroyed by them. They're going to fight. Finally. Xiao Han and the Great Sun Emperor were already nearing. Xiao Han. Go to hell. This Crown Prince will crush you into dust. Crown Prince Hualai's eyes were about to pop out as he roared. Hualai, today I will make sure you die without a complete corpse. Xiao Han's aura pierced through the heavens and earth. Peng? Both of their fists collided. It was actually a collision without any fancy moves. Using violence to curb violence. Hong, in an instant, their auras shook the heavens and earth. Violent energy soared into the sky. Even the air above the arena was destroyed. It was as if it was about to turn into chaos. Peng? Both of their fists collided again. Mushroom clouds exploded in all directions. In this kind of situation, any normal martial artist who entered the arena rashly would be crushed to pieces. Xiao Han ignited the Emperor's true qi to increase his true qi strength by 30 times. With the addition of the Emperor's aura, his power was actually a level higher than the pure physical strength. However, this kind of attack could not be sustained for long. He had to end this battle quickly. Die for me. Xiao Han didn't delay any longer. Both of his fists hammered out continuously. Every punch landed on Crown Prince Hualai's body. Crown Prince Hualai seemed to have gone crazy. He kept on attacking Xiao Han. The two of them were like ruffians fighting in the marketplace. They tangled together and attacked each other violently. Their fight caused the stars to tremble. Endless air currents flowed in all directions. Even the void kept on collapsing. The sound of fists hitting flesh caused people's hearts to palpitate. The earth seemed to be sinking. The heavens seemed to be collapsing. The entire audience stood up. Their legs went soft as they looked at the primitive and barbaric scene on the arena. Even the old-timers and almighty experts in the spectator stands were rooted to the ground, their eyes fixed on the scene. After the two of them had punched each other hundreds of times, they seemed to be exhausted. Or maybe it was because their true qi had been completely burnt. The aura of both of them started to weaken bit by bit and gradually returned to normal. The two of them retreated, and retreated again. After retreating 10 steps, they stopped. The arena was completely silent. The audience was as silent as a graveyard. Everyone was rubbing their eyes, wanting to see the result of the battle. Is it over? Who won? I can't seem to tell. It seems to be a draw. No one gained the upper hand. On the arena. Xiao Han. Crown Prince Hualai's face was cold. His whole body was covered in sweat. After burning his great sun true qi, he was completely exhausted and on the verge of collapse. You are only SOSO. And just you alone cannot defeat this Crown Prince. This Crown Prince will be an all-powerful hero in the future. My name will shake the mountains and rivers. Sooner or later, I will crush an ant like you. Xiao Han laughed involuntarily and shook his head. Fellow powerful existences, it is a draw. Crown Prince Hualai raised his head and looked at the viewing platform. Xiao Han cannot defeat me, Hualai. However, at this moment, between Crown Prince Hualai's brows that were white, translucent and lustrous like jade, a hairline crack had suddenly appeared. Crown Prince Hualai's face stiffened. His domineering and disdainful eyes suddenly became dull and lifeless. Immediately after, a hair-like crack appeared on Huolai's white chest. In an instant, on Huolai's face, his body, his hands, his feet, his back, densely packed and crisscrossed cracks appeared. It caused his entire body to look like a delicate porcelain that had been shattered. It was a ghastly sight. This is, what is going on? Crown Prince Huolai's face revealed an expression of extreme confusion and fear. Alright, shatter. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Xiao Han shook his head, turned around and slowly left the stage. The entire place was as quiet as a ghost town. Hundreds of thousands of pairs of eyes unwaveringly stared at Huolai. Puchi. Finally, on Huolai's left shoulder, a few cracks spread and gathered together. It directly broke a large piece of skin, muscles and bones. A handful of powder scattered. Puchi. 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 Cracks continuously appeared on Huolai's body. His entire body was immediately filled with potholes and densely packed hair-like cracks. They started to expand and break apart. Ah, Master. Disciple seems to have died. No. Disciple cannot die. Disciple must become. Bang! Before he could finish his sentence, Huolai's entire body finally exploded and turned into a handful of powder that drifted with the wind. Not even his bones remained. It turned out that after exchanging hundreds of punches, every punch that Huolai landed on Xiao Han would be reflected back by Xiao Han's indestructible golden body by 20%, injuring himself. After a few hundred punches, Huolai's flesh shell was already broken into pieces. His life was completely extinguished. When the wind blew, his entire body collapsed. He actually died from being crushed alive. Void viewing platform. Huolai, disciple Huolai. Great Sun Emperor suddenly stood up. His eyes were spewing blood as he growled in a low voice. He was like an enraged beast that wanted to eat someone. His voice was like the mournful cry of the cuckoo's blood-crying apes. My beloved disciple Huolai. Xiao Han. Xiao Han. You will die a horrible death. I will definitely skin you alive and pull out your tendons. Die. In this world there is no place for you to hide anymore. We cannot live under the same sky. This hatred cannot be washed away even with the water of 3 rivers and 5 lakes. The bald old man also stood up and said indifferently. Enough, Great Sun Emperor, don't lose your composure. The winner will be the king in the arena. Although Huolai is enchanting, he is still not Xiao Han's match. He is just not as skilled. I also feel that it is a pity. However, these are the rules of the game. Back then you, Great Sun Emperor, stood out from the preliminaries and entered the main competition. You also killed many geniuses of the same generation. A general success is built on the bones of 10,000 people. Enough, if you have any dissatisfaction, leave quickly. Otherwise don't blame me for banishing you. The bald old man was an old antique of the southern mountain range. He was an experienced demon hero. His cultivation level and battle strength were unfathomable. He was a legendary figure himself. Thus, he did not need to give any face to the Great Sun Crown Prince. Xiao Han, this person, knows the secrets of the demon race and has fallen into the demon Dao. Great Sun Emperor bared his teeth. Whether Xiao Han has fallen into the demon Dao or not, it is not up to you, Great Sun Emperor, to judge. The bald old man's face was cold. Great Sun, let's go. The dragon bone Saint Blade grabbed hold of Great Sun Emperor, who had lost his composure. It is not too late to take revenge later. The two turned into streams of light and escaped. Before leaving, Great Sun Emperor looked deeply at Wu Yu. The hatred in his eyes was indescribable. Mingjian Peak Shiman Piaoxua also left. And Beacon Fire Empire Emperor Mo Qin left with a face full of hatred. Before he left, he looked at Xiao Han from afar. In his eyes, there were all kinds of plots and revenge brewing. Sovereign, it seems that junior brother Xiao Han has offended many people this time. Haha. Xiao Mingchu laughed. No worries. When Xiao Han becomes a demon hero, there will be endless excitement and even greater opportunities. At that time, these clowns in front of us will not be a problem. In life there is always gratitude and revenge. Who doesn't have a few enemies? In Wu Yu's eyes, some of the heroic spirit of the past was reignited. The last 2 matches of the group of death began one by one. Mo Qingtong and Fatty Zhu won without any suspense. They got a place in the main competition. At this point, this year's Demon Hero preliminaries, the 300 places in the Southern Mountain Range preliminaries were all decided. Chapter 158. After a fierce competition and all kinds of ups and downs, the Southern Region qualifier, known as the cruelest hex trial in history, finally came to an end. All 300 places had been decided. Some were happy and some were sad. In the void, a high and hoarse voice of an old man came from the edge of a cliff. Everyone, this year's Hex Trial, our Southern Region qualifier, has come to an end. I would like to congratulate the 300 enchanters who have entered the main stage. From today onwards, you will be the best of the younger generation in the Southern Region, representing the entire Southern Region and embarking on a journey of passion and legend. To participate in the main competition. The main competition held in the Central Region Hex Region. At that time, you will face thousands of geniuses from the Eastern Region, the Western Region, the Northern Region, and the Great Wilderness. This old man wishes you a great victory in advance. Very well, for the next 5 days, I invite the 300 enchanting beauties to rest at Sunset Mountain. 5 days later, I will personally take you to the Hex Region. During this period, please do not go down the mountain to avoid any changes. You may leave. Boss Xiao, congratulations, congratulations. Miss Mo, congratulations, congratulations. Fatty Zhu bowed to Xiao Han and Mo Qingtong. He had the face of an insignificant person. Enough, damn Fatty, stop pretending. Mo Qingtong scolded. Put away your pretense. If you want to pretend, then slowly pretend in the main competition. Don't do this in front of us. Ha 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 ha, Fatty Zhu shamelessly laughed along with him. And brother Zhu, same to you? Xiao Han smiled. Then Xiao Han coughed and spat out a small mouthful of blood. Just now Xiao Han and Prince Huolai fought. Although Prince Huolai was crushed alive. However, Xiao Han had also suffered serious injuries. He needed a few days to recuperate to recover to his best state. Brother Xiao, are you okay? Mo Qingtong frowned. I'm fine, I'll be fine after a few days of rest. Xiao Han shook his head slightly. Such a serious injury, he'll be fine after a few days of rest? Mo Qingtong looked at Xiao Han suspiciously. But brother Xiao, you really are a beast in human form. The strength of your flesh shell is no less than that of the Great Wilderness. I hope after 5 days. If brother Xiao can recover, it will not affect the main competition. It was said that the death rate in the main competition this time was very high. In fact, obtaining a spot in the main competition isn't that big of a deal. The most important thing is the entire process of the main competition. Boss Xiao, once we enter the main competition, you have to take care of and guide Fatty. Fatty Zhu rubbed his hands and said, Brother Xiao, the 3 of us can form a small group. They were of the same breath and branch. In this way, the chances of surviving in the main competition are much higher than fighting alone. Mo Qingtong looked at Xiao Han with a serious face, her black and white demonic eyes clearly defined. It flickered with a seductive light. We'll talk about it when the time comes, Xiao Han said noncommittally. All right, then let's disperse. Mo Qingtong smiled sweetly. In the void viewing platform. Everyone please disperse. Disciples and juniors participating in the main competition could stay at Sunset Mountain for 5 days. 5 days later, this old man will personally arrange for 300 enchantresses to participate in the main competition, the bald old man said. This qualifier is really exciting. It's a pity that a few of my disciples were all eliminated, none of them were spared. But to be honest, with their strength, even if they entered the main competition, it would be very difficult for them to survive. I wonder how many of the 300 will survive in the end. Since ancient times, the Devil Hero qualifier has been very cruel. But once they become a Devil Hero, their future is limitless, and they will forever be separated from ordinary warriors. Alright, don't worry about them. Let's find a place to watch the main competition in 5 days. Many of the old antiques and powerful figures in the void viewing platform discussed among themselves as they left. Brother Wu, I'll go find my disciple Qingtong first. Oh yes, besides young Xiao Han, your Pure Cloud sect also has a female disciple who also obtained a spot in the main competition. It's really good news. The Heavenly Demon Old Man was also beaming. And then Heavenly Demon Old Man will take our leave now. Wu Yu and Xiao Mingqiu stood up together. At this moment, Wu Yu glanced around and said loudly, Old Man Gong's son, wait up. He walked directly towards the Valley Lord of the Medicine Masters, Old Man Gong's son, whose face was covered in dirt. Sect Leader Wu, what do you want? Old Man Gong's son was stunned. When Crown Prince Mo Zhen fought Xiao Han, he had used the secret treasure of the Valley of the Medicine Masters, the ancient Medicine King longevity pill, which had almost destroyed Xiao Han. Now, when Wu Yu called out to him, Old Man Gong's son immediately felt uneasy, afraid that Wu Yu would find trouble with him. He hurriedly tried to explain. Sect Leader Wu, the top disciple of the Valley of the Medicine Masters' younger generation, Si Kongji, was eliminated by Xiao Han. What else do you want? Ha. Wu Yu laughed lightly and walked over. Old man Gong's son, don't be in such a hurry to leave. I say. Sect leader Wu, what do you want? That Medicine King longevity pill was indeed given to the Beacon Fire Empire royal family by me, but I did not know that Crown Prince Imo would use it against Xiao Han. Moreover, Crown Prince Imo has already died at the hands of Xiao Han. Sect leader Wu, don't be so overbearing and bully us too much. If you push us too far, the Valley of the Medicine Masters is not afraid of your pure cloud sect. Old man Gong's son shouted. Ah. Old man Gong's son, I will not pursue this matter anymore. Wu Yu laughed. The youth of my pure cloud sect, Xiao Han, is an unparalleled demon. He has overcome all obstacles and is invincible. You have seen this with your own eyes. Then let's bring up the past again. Xiao Han should be worthy of the two female outer sect disciples of the Medicine Master's Valley, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue, right? Old man Gong's son, what do you say? Valley leader Gong's son, a wise man submits to circumstances, Xiao Mingqiu said with a smile. The alliance between the Valley of the Medicine Masters and the Beacon Fire Empire royal family is undoubtedly to seek protection. However, Valley leader Gong's son is also a wise man. I would like to ask, since the founding of the Beacon Fire Empire, has there ever been a demon like Xiao Han? This? Old man Gong's son was speechless. Xiao Mingqiu continued. With my junior brother Xiao Han's potential, it is not impossible for him to pass this year's monster hero selection and become a monster hero. In the future he may be able to shake the heavens and earth, sweeping through the sun, moon and heaven and earth. His name will completely shake the mountains and rivers. Valley leader Gong's son, the world is unpredictable. None of us can predict what will happen in the future. But sometimes when you see a slight clue, you must place your bet. You see, is my junior brother Xiao Han worth your bet? Also, I would like to remind Valley leader Gong's son that in the true martial continent, there are no empires or sects that will never fall. When you reach the peak of your prosperity, you will definitely fall. As the saying goes, the affairs of the world are hard to predict. Fortune and disaster can be decided by a single thought. Perhaps the destruction of the Valley of the Medicine Masters in the future will be because of an insignificant matter that inadvertently planted the seeds of disaster. For example, Valley leader Gong's son, you should understand what I mean, right? Xiao Mingqiu, you dare to threaten me, this. Old man Gong's son's eyes darted around. After thinking for a while, he finally gritted his teeth. Forget it. Sect leader Wu, Xiao Mingqiu, Lan Shirong and Jing Yanxue, I will temporarily let them stay in the Valley of the Medicine Masters. I will not marry them easily. However, everything will have to wait until Xiao Han becomes a monster hero. Although he is a shocking talent, he may still die in the competition. If he survives, we will discuss this again. All right, Wu Yu nodded. All in all, old man Gong's son, those two outer female disciples must be Xiao Han's wives and concubines. If you dare to rashly marry them off, then the Pure Cloud sect will not hesitate to declare war on the Valley of the Medicine Masters. Enough. Don't threaten me anymore. I know what I'm doing. Old man Gong's son said submissively. However, his words were tough on the outside but weak on the inside. It was obvious that he had compromised. Also, that female disciple of mine, Hua Fan, consumed a precious medicine that overdrew her life to forcefully increase her battle power. She only has 10 years left to live. Old man Gong's son, your Valley of the Medicine Masters should have good medicine to cure her, right? Wu Yu's eyes shifted. I really don't have that for the time being. Old man Gong's son shrugged. Sect leader Wu, Xiao Mingqiu, both of you have a good ranking on the monster hero ranking list. You have the authority to enter some ancient countries and mystic realms. I believe that you can find the medicine to save that woman. Don't have any ideas about the Valley of the Medicine Masters. I am helpless. Forget it, I will find a good plan for this matter. I can't let Hua Fan die like this. Wu Yu whispered. Then I will take my leave. Old man Gong's son cupped his hands and left dejectedly. Sect leader, let's return to the palace. I can't wait to congratulate junior brother Xiao Han and junior sister Hua Fan. Ah. Xiao Mingqiu yawned. Let's go. Wu Yu smiled faintly. Sunset Mountain. In the palace area of the Pure Cloud sect. In the huge garden. A large group of true disciples of the Pure Cloud sect, led by Dong Fangqin and Fang Ling, surrounded Xiao Han and Hua Wu like stars surrounding the moon. Ah. Junior brother Xiao Han, you are really something. You fought so fiercely in this preliminaries, it was so exciting. He had gained prestige from the battle. Raise the prestige of our Pure Rain sect. Now, the number one genius of the southern region is definitely you. Dongfang Qin beamed with joy and patted Xiaohan's shoulder. Junior brother Xiaohan, your name has shaken the mountains and rivers, and your aura has spread throughout the 9 provinces. Your limelight is unparalleled. Fang Ling nodded repeatedly. Xiaohan, have a good rest in these 5 days. The official competition would be even more difficult. When the time comes, you will encounter even more geniuses. Seriously speaking, at least the younger generation of the eastern region and the Great Wilderness was of a higher quality than the southern region. There were also the heaven-defying talents cultivated by the old antiques of the Devil Hero region. In short, we can't let down our guard. My 2 brothers, I understand, Xiaohan said seriously. He didn't have the slightest hint of self-deprecation. There was no arrogance in his eyes. He was neither servile nor overbearing. He was very calm. Emerging from the group of death had sharpened Xiaohan's spirit and aura, allowing him to grow stronger. Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling both nodded with satisfaction. At this time Xiaohan looked at Huo Fan. Originally a face of hibiscus stunningly beautiful to surpass all the beauties at this moment, the peerlessly elegant Huo Yang's face was covered in a layer of haggard and sorrowful complexion, looking delicate and pitiful. At first glance, it gave others the feeling that he had just recovered from a serious illness. Senior sister Huayu? Xiaohan looked at Huolan for a few breaths and finally asked. Why were you willing to take such a risk and take that precious medicine that overdraft your life's potential? Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling also looked at Huo Fan at the same time. To be continued? Chapter 159. Facing the curious and questioning gaze of Xiaohan and the others, Huo Fan's expression turned mournful. However, there seemed to be something difficult for her to say. She didn't answer immediately and smiled bitterly. Update. If I don't take that elixir, I definitely won't have any chance to win the preliminaries and obtain a spot in the main competition. After a pause, Huo Fan's eyes were filled with determination and determination. I must become a hero even if I have to die. Senior martial sister Hua, is it really that important to you to become a hero? Xiaohan blurted out. At this moment, Huo Fan, you should have some secrets that are difficult to say. I won't force you to answer about this matter. However, you and Xiaohan are going to participate in the main competition. You are both disciples of Cloud Sect, you can take care of each other. Huo Fan, if you trust Xiaohan, why don't you tell him a thing or two? Wu Yu and Xiao Mingchu returned. Sect Master, Big Senior Martial Brother. Everyone greeted them. Junior Martial Brother Xiaohan, Junior Martial Sister Huo Fan, congratulations. Xiao Mingchu smiled and congratulated them. Huo Fan raised her head and looked at Wu Yu. Her expression changed slightly. She then quickly looked at Xiaohan and nodded secretly. Come Xiaohan, Huo Fan, come with me. Wu Yu said indifferently. Yes. Wu ***, Xiaohan and Huo Yang strolled leisurely through the artificial mountains, ponds and small bridges in the palace area. Huo Fan, you took the elixir that overdraft your life potential. You only have 10 years left to live. However, during the main competition, it won't affect your battle power. Wu Yu said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Since you have to sacrifice your life to enter the main competition, then cherish it. As for the antidote to replenish your life force, I will find a way to find it for you. Huo Wu's body trembled. Thank you, Sect Master, for taking care of me. Wu Yu said thoughtfully. Xiaohan, if possible, I hope you can take care of Huo Fan. After all, we are from the same sect, we can trust each other. Obviously, Crow also felt sorry for Huo Wu. I understand. Xiaohan said seriously. Thank you, Junior Martial Brother Xiaohan. Huo Fan suddenly bowed deeply. Senior Sister Hua, you don't have to be so polite, Xiaohan hurriedly said. The 2 of you are not allowed to go anywhere for the next 5 days. Stay in the palace and recuperate. Xiaohan, your injuries should be able to heal in a few days, right? Wu Yu walked to a pavilion and sat down leisurely. Xiaohan and Huo Gang stood on his left and right. Sure. Xiaohan nodded. Xiaohan, Huo Fan, according to the reliable information our sect has obtained, there will be 10,000 geniuses entering the main competition this time. The various regions and the Great Wilderness have already decided who will enter the main competition. Wu Yu looked into the distance as if he was reminiscing. The mortality rate will be more than 90%. That is to say, out of 10,000 people, at most 1,000 people will eventually become vigilantes. Based on my sect's experience, it might not even be enough to control a few hundred people. But the qualifiers this time are very valuable, so these hundreds of evil heroes will be directly trained and put in important positions, and will be rewarded with abundant resources. 10,000 people competing for a few hundred slots for evil hero, TSK. Xiao Han clicked his tongue. Furthermore, these 10,000 people are the cream of the crop who have passed through the preliminaries. They are the cream of the crop. It's going to be difficult. Well, that's what the Hex Hero preliminaries are all about, cold-blooded and cruel. Blackbird smiled faintly. You should understand that only the strongest of the human clan can shoulder the heavy responsibility of fighting against the demon clan. When the weak encountered the demon clan, not only could they not destroy the demon clan, but they would also become nourishment for the demon clan. They might even occupy their flesh shells and cause harm to the human world. Therefore, the Hex Hero tryouts must be strict. Survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. You two be smart. It was impossible for the 300 participants from the Southern Territory to be united. Instead, most of them would stab others in the back and step on others to advance. Therefore, you must be careful in choosing your allies. The Heaven's Devil Old Man and our sect have a friendship of life and death. The Mo Qingtong can become an ally that can gain your trust. The crow's eyes were filled with pure teachings. In the main competition there are many variables. You must remember one thing, you must not be soft-hearted. The Hex Hero preliminaries were like thousands of people crossing a single log bridge. Whoever gave in would be smashed to pieces and doomed eternally. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to be ruthless. Fan, you should learn from Xiao Han. This kid is more ruthless than anyone else when he's ruthless. I don't know if Sect Master is praising or insulting your disciple. Xiao Han didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Xiao Han. The crow looked at Xiao Han seriously. Xiao Han was stunned. In the preliminaries, you always kept the Demon Clan's secret method as a trump card. That's good. However, after entering the main competition, there's no need to worry about life and death. Do you understand what I mean? Everything is for survival. You can do anything. The crow's eyes became sharp and penetrated everything. Disciple understands. Xiao Han nodded heavily. Good, I have said what I need to say. You two can talk. The crow stood up and left. Xiao Han looked at Hua Fan and said in a low voice, Senior Sister Hua, please sit. The two sat down. Xiao Han stared at Hua Fan. Junior brother Xiao Han. Hua Wu gritted her teeth. Junior brother Xiao Han must be wondering why I am willing to harm myself to become a demon warrior, right? If it's possible, Senior Sister Hua can tell me. Xiao Han said. Junior brother Xiao Han, I will only tell you. Please keep it a secret for me. Don't tell anyone else, including Sect Master. Hua Fan said seriously. Immediately, her face turned slightly red and she said in a low voice. This matter concerns some of Hua Wu's mother's privacy. This? Xiao Han was stunned but quickly said seriously, I promise Senior Sister Hua. Hua Fan's beautiful eyes looked into the void, her face showing a look of reminiscence. Soon, strong resentment, hatred, and heartbreak appeared on her face. She said quietly. Junior brother Xiao Han, Hua Fan was born in a big martial arts family in Beacon Fire Empire. When Hua Yang was 10 years old, his entire family was annihilated. Thousands of people died a violent death. Family destruction? Xiao Han was shocked. It was done by the demon race. 2 lines of tears fell from Hua Fan's eyes. This is indeed a tragedy in the human world. Xiao Han nodded his head in agreement. Therefore, Senior Martial Sister Hua is determined to become a demon hero and personally eradicate the demon clan to avenge your clan, right? This is only one of the reasons. Hua Fan's expression suddenly became extremely angry. Her shoulders slightly twitched because of her agitation. She stared at Xiao Han and said with a voice as soft as a mosquito. In the entire Hua family, only Hua Fan was lucky enough to escape. When Hua Fan returned to the family mansion, there were corpses everywhere. Every corpse had a big hole in their head. Their brains had been sucked dry. There was the smell of blood everywhere. It was like hell on earth. Hua Fan found my mother's body, but found that before she died. Hua Fan's expression changed. Mother was humiliated before she died. She was defiled. It was also done by the demon race? Xiao Han was shocked. Hua Fan shook her head lightly. At that time, father was still breathing. Before he breathed his last, father told Hua Fan with certainty that the one who defiled mother was definitely not a demon race, but a human. It was possible that the massacre of the entire Hua family was a deliberate crime committed by a heartless human, and purposely created the illusion that the demon race was annihilated. Of course, this was only Father's guess before he died. Father did not see the appearance of the person who defiled Mother with his own eyes. He only said that it was definitely not a demon race. Father told Hua Fan that this matter might involve a lot of people. Our Hua family has been passed down for dozens of generations. We once had a powerful demon warrior, but he died in battle. Although the family gradually declined, we still had a foundation. Ordinary people would not have the guts to commit such an evil act. It must be done by someone with a great background. Father warned Hua Fan that this matter must not be told to anyone. Otherwise, it would bring about the disaster of being killed. Moreover, this matter is not easy to investigate. Only after Hua Fan becomes a demon warrior, he can go to the demon warrior tower to issue a bounty and let other powerful demon warriors investigate. That is the best plan. Because this matter concerns Mother's innocence, Hua Fan has never mentioned this matter to anyone, including the sect master. Mother is extremely gentle and kind. Hua Fan does not want others to know that she was humiliated when she was alive. That would be a great disrespect. There's actually such an evil person? Annihilating a family, defiling a woman. This is simply insane. Too many to count. Xiao Han's eyes were also wide open. Senior Sister Hua, please rest assured. This little brother will not mention this matter to anyone. This little brother will do his best to help Senior Sister Hua become a demon warrior, so that Senior Sister Hua can thoroughly investigate this matter and find the true murderer. The two of them talked for a long time before returning to the palace area together. 4 days had passed. In these 4 days, Xiao Han had secluded himself to recuperate. He continuously studied the 61st to 70th movement of the indestructible golden body, causing his injured body to miraculously recover. Moreover, Xiao Han nourished his soul. His dispirited mental strength and saber intent had become vigorous. The various types of true qi consumed in the true acupoints were replenished with the highest grade true qi spirit stones. This caused the 30 true acupoints to be overflowing with light. The light was dense, making Xiao Han's body look like a treasure. Xiao Han's state had reached its peak. In the palace where the heavenly demon sect was located. Qing Tong, in this time's demon warrior preliminaries, you are the only one from the heavenly demon sect to enter the main competition. The official competition is full of mishaps and misfortunes. You're alone and you lack support. The heavenly devil old man's eyes were filled with demonic qi as he spoke to Amo Qing Tong. With your skills, there must be many people who want to rope you in and form an alliance with you. However, these people cannot be trusted. Only the youth of the Cloud sect, Xiao Han, can be trusted. Moreover, this youth Xiao Han is full of tricks and endless potential. He may be able to take charge in the future. Qing Tong, cooperate with Xiao Han well. See him as your only ally. I hope you can work together to become a new generation of demon warriors. Qing Tong understands. Amo Qing Tong's eyes flickered. 5 days had passed. Xiao Han Hua Fan. The Crow sect master gathered many people. Now follow me to the peak. I will accompany you to the demon warrior region. Participate in the main competition. Yes. Xiao Han and Hua Fan nodded. Let's go together. Xiao Mingqiu stretched. Junior brother Xiao Han, you must be very nervous now, right? A little. Xiao Han licked his lips. It's okay. I was as nervous as you. Let's go. Xiao Mingqiu put his arm around Xiao Han's shoulder and walked out. Junior brother Xiao Han, from now on you have to work hard. Remember, adapt to the situation. Fong Ling also reminded. In short, I believe that you can survive and become demon warriors. Dong Fongqin said seriously. A group of people filed out of the palace and rose to the peak under the leadership of the Crow sect master. They were going to the demon warrior region to participate in the main competition. To be continued. Chapter 160. Led by sect leader Wu Da, the group of people from Lei Yun sect escorted Xiao Han and Hua Da to the peak of the Sunset Mountain. At the peak, several old antiques with auras as powerful as a sea, auspicious light restrained from their bodies, symbols condensed, were already waiting. That bald old man was especially terrifying. Just by standing there, he gave people the feeling that he was like an ancient ferocious beast. In the bald old man's eyes, blazing lights flashed, thunder mountains descended, lightning danced, divine sounds drifted, and all kinds of strange phenomena. It was as if he could shatter space with just a slight movement. This was an ancient giant. Xiao Han, that bald old man's surname is Duan. He is an antique from the southern region and is ranked high on the Fiend Hero ranking. When he was young, he had a legendary experience in all kinds of deeds that could be written into books and talked about enthusiastically. Xiao Mingqiu whispered in Xiao Han's ear. This time, Old Duan will lead the 300 of you into the Fiend Hero region to participate in the main competition. Of course, sect leader, and we will accompany you all the way. Tiske, that old man is indeed as powerful as the sea. Even when he is talking, he gives people the feeling that he will turn into ashes. Xiao Han clicked his tongue. The bald old Duan and a few old antiques stood solemnly on one of the lotus leaves in the wrestling ring of the lotus platform at the peak of the mountain. A large group of people stood below the lotus platform battle arena. Xiao Han glanced and saw Xiao Yunrong and Mo Qingtong, Heavenly Demon Old Man, Fatty Zhu, and other familiar faces. That large group of people was no doubt the beauties of the southern region and their sect elders who were going to participate in the main competition. There were also many people gathered in the spectator seats around to watch the show. Xiao Han, Hoda, follow me. Wu De smiled faintly. He walked over with Xiao Han and the others. Hua Xiao, you're here? Fatty Zhu greeted with a drooling face. Behind Fatty Zhu, there was also a middle-aged fatty with an even wider body who had a smile on his face. Aha, big brother Wu, little brother Xiao Han. This? Xiao Han was stunned. Little Fatty Zhu's father, Zhu Ganglai of the Blazing Sun Empire's giant sword sect. Wu De introduced casually. Hello, Senior Zhu Ganglai. Xiao Han greeted. Not bad, not bad. You are indeed a dragon among men. He was the young hero of this generation in the southern region. Little Fatty, compared to my nephew Xiao Han, you are still worlds apart. In the future you should follow my nephew Xiao Han and hone your skills. I hope you'll improve. Zhu Ganglai pretended to scold Fatty Zhu with a stern face. Yes, father. Xiao Han is my boss. Little Fatty Zhu took advantage of the situation. Xiao Han didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He thought to himself, these two fatties, one old and one young. It seemed that they were all very shameless. At this time, the Heavenly Demon Elder also brought Mo Qingtong over. Therefore, the sect, the Heavenly Demon Sect, and the Giant Sword Sect formed a small group. They talked to each other in low voices and minded their own business. Xiao Han also saw Xiao Yunrong looking at him from the corner of his eye. But standing beside Xiao Yunrong was Shimin Piaoxue, who had a cold and murderous expression. She didn't dare to walk over. In the crowd there were a few outstanding young people. They were the other seeded contestants in addition to the 6 seeded contestants in the group of death. They were the Crown Prince of the Soul Mountain Empire. It was said that he fell into the dragon blood pool when he was young, causing his body to be tainted with dragon qi. He was known as the true dragon bloodline. Li Ziki was an itinerant cultivator in the pugilistic world. His flying dagger was extremely demonic and never missed. Tian Yuan of the Sea God Empire suppressed the ocean storm with one finger. Cheng Feng was an itinerant cultivator in the Blazing Sun Empire. When he used his demonic flame palm, the stars were blinded and his killing intent was fierce. These people were also outstanding. At this moment these experts looked at Xiao Han from time to time. There was a pondering look in their eyes. But none of them came over to him. Xiao Han looked around for a while and then retracted his gaze. The spirit turtle vital chi surged and sealed his powerful flesh shell and true acupoints one by one, causing his entire aura to be unfathomable like a withered tree or rock. The Heavenly Demon Elder praised. Good boy. You sealed your aura again. Indeed, such a state of unpredictability was the most advantageous in the actual competition. Because no one can see through you. Those who show off their abilities will be at a disadvantage instead. They are in danger of becoming the target of public criticism. Xiao Han. The Heavenly Demon Elder looked at Xiao Han deeply. This old man will hand Qingtong over to you. I hope you can take good care of her. It is this old man's wish that the both of you can become the new generation of demon heroes together. Ah. Brother Wu, you hope so too, right? The Heavenly Demon Elder's words were full of double entendres and seemed to be very ambiguous. Master, don't talk nonsense, lest Brother Xiao misunderstands. Mo Qingtong's cherry lips moved slightly. She was shy and timid and her eyes were like silk. Every smile and frown was naturally charming, and the charm of a peerless beauty. As she spoke, she glanced at Xiao Han with her watery demonic eyes, which made Xiao Han unable to take it. We, the older generation, should not blindly interfere in the matters of the young people. Wu Lei laughed. Right at this moment, all the demons are here, right? On the lotus platform, the bald elder Duan said with his hands behind his back. His expression was dignified without being angry, and it immediately shocked the entire scene. causing the people below to become silent. Yes. The bald old man swept his gaze over and nodded slightly. Everyone is here. Good, this old man will personally lead all of you to the Demon Hero region. Those who want to accompany us, please follow behind. The younger generation will soon start to challenge their fate. The older generation should have already given you all the instructions. You can leave now. Don't be hypocritical. A flower in a greenhouse will always be a weak existence. Elder Duan is really... Wu Lei laughed involuntarily. Then he said to Xiaohan and Huo Wu, "All right, be careful. This sect will wait for your good news." After saying that, Wu Lei was very free and easy. He brought Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, and the other true disciples of the reincarnation sect and walked away. The heavenly demon elder, Zhu Ganglai, Shimen Piao Shui, and the others also walked away one by one. The 300 young people stood on the spot. They raised their eyes and looked at the bald Elder Duan who was standing on the lotus platform on the high cliff. "Let's go." Elder Duan's eyes that were filled with scarlet light and runes were burning with excitement. He muttered in an extremely low voice. "This scene reminds this old man of the time when I participated in the Demon Hero selection competition when I was young. How many years has it been?" Ha ha ha. Elder Duan laughed heartily. In the next moment, boom, it was a vast sea of golden light. It spurted out from all the true meridians in Elder Duan's body. It covered the sky and covered the earth. Its pressure was overwhelming. In the golden ocean, densely packed runes and the word treasure were swimming. It was overflowing with treasure light. In a few breaths, this golden ocean transformed into a huge monster. It was actually a swani. Its size was over 100 mu. Its aura was world-shocking. Its entire body was golden as if it was carved out of precious stones. Every single scale was covered in blood. They were all engraved with mysterious runes. They were dazzling. It was too terrifying. Its eyes were displaying the prehistoric civilization. This was a ferocious creature that could destroy the world. It was the true chi of the bald Elder Duan. The 300 young people, including Xiao Han, almost prostrated themselves under the powerful pressure of the Swani. They felt that they were too small and insignificant. It could be foreseen that a single breath from the Swani would definitely be able to destroy this group of the most outstanding talents in the southern region. "Go!" Elder Duan grabbed with his right hand. A wave of energy pulled the 300 young people into the air. They were directly thrown onto the Swani's vast back. Immediately after, Elder Duan and a few old antiques moved together. They jumped onto the Swani. Boom! In an instant, the Swani transformed into a dazzling golden light and disappeared without a trace. Its speed was over 100 times faster than the speed of sound. "Ha! We finally set off. Sect Master, let's follow them." Xiao Mingchu couldn't wait and shouted. Endless light shot out from his body and transformed into a divine bird. It carried him and flew away like a meteor to chase after the Swani. The Swani casually grabbed a few white clouds from the sky and flew away from the Sunset Mountain together with the many true disciples of the reincarnation sect. The heavenly demon old man's true chi transformed into a black dragon that was over 100 feet long. It rode on the clouds with a monstrous demonic aura and a strong ancient aura. It flew side by side with the Swani's white clouds. Zhu Ganglia's true chi transformed into a flying divine pig that was the size of a few acres. It followed behind at a moderate speed. Shimen Piao Shui summoned a sword aura tornado. In the spectator seats, many people also released their true chi and transformed into various savage beasts, ferocious birds, cauldrons and utensils. In an instant, the sky was filled with dazzling colors. Countless people followed behind like a swarm of bees. The Swani's back. 300 people stood on the Swani's back. Not only was it not crowded, but it was also very sparse. Xiaohan, Huoda, Fatty Zhu, and Emo Qingtong naturally gathered together and whispered to each other. "Are we going to the Yaoxia region?" Xiaohan whispered. "Yes." Emo Qingtong nodded. The Yaoxia region is the main examination venue of the past Yaoxia region. The Yaoxia region is a sacred ground. Seriously speaking, it is the supreme region of our Jianghu continent. It is not to be blasphemed or violated. Countless Yaoxia warriors use their lives to defend their homeland. In Emo Qingtong's demonic eyes, there was also a strong yearning. "Oh right, that Elder Duan, I don't know what realm he is at. I feel that he is very powerful. I wonder when we can cultivate to his realm." Xiao Han looked at Elder Duan and the few old antiques standing in front of him. Emo Qingtong covered her mouth and laughed. "Brother Xiao, Elder Duan is one of the few strong people in the entire southern region. His combat strength is not inferior to your sect master Wu and Qingtong's master. He is a giant who is thousands of years old. An existence of this level has even fought against the demon race Great Emperor. Demon race Great Emperor. Xiaohan whispered. The demon emperor palm tattoo on his left hand trembled slightly. Maybe after I absorb enough demon race blood essence or even demon imperial crystals, my demon emperor palm will be able to unleash the terrifying techniques of the demon race Great Emperor. Xiaohan secretly thought. At this moment, on the other side, Xiao Yunrong, who was standing alone, finally walked towards Xiaohan. She was the only one from Mingjian Villa who had entered the main competition this time. She seemed to have not found a suitable ally and appeared to be very lonely. Xiaohan. Xiao Yunrong called out weakly. Yunrong. Xiaohan smiled and greeted her naturally and generously. Xiaohan, can I go with you? Xiao Yunrong mustered up her courage and asked. Xiao Yunrong had a head of golden wavy hair and a noble aura. Her facial features were exquisite and she exuded a mature charm. After comprehending the sword essence, she looked valiant and was definitely a rare beauty. Fatty Zhu immediately called out. Sure. What is your surname? Mo Qingtong and Huoda looked at each other. They could not help but compare Xiao Yunrong with themselves in their hearts. This was the nature of women. We're all friends. Then let's go together. Xiaohan smiled. He had a good personal relationship with Xiao Yunrong. Moreover, Xiao Yunrong was his brother Ah Chao's cousin. Hence, Xiaohan did not reject her. Do you have any objections? Xiaohan looked at Mo Qingtong and Huoda. To be continued. Chapter 161. How dare I have any objection to Brother Zhao's confidant? Mo Qingtong said with a smile. The silver bracelet on her arm bumped against each other slightly, making a devilish sound. Suddenly, Xiao Yunrong's eyes were like silk, and her face was flushed. She put her hand on Xiaohan's shoulder, and her body became soft. Her voice was as soft as cotton. Xiaohan, I'm so hot. As she spoke, she actually wanted to undress herself. But after a breath, a sharp sword light flashed in Xiao Yunrong's eyes, making her wake up instantly. Her eyes were full of confusion and anger as she stared at Mo Qingtong. Mo Qingtong covered her mouth and chuckled. I'm just joking. Sister, don't take it to heart. This joke is not funny. Xiao Yunrong was ashamed and angry. She quickly moved her hand away from Xiaohan's shoulder and did not dare to look at him. Xiaohan was also very embarrassed. Miss Mo, you'd better not make such a joke. Okay, I'm just playing. Mo Qingtong repeatedly begged for mercy. She even looked like she had been wronged, which made people laugh. After this little interlude, the few of them settled down and sat down, closing their eyes to rest. Although Xiao Yunrong was annoyed by Mo Qingtong's rude teasing, she could only endure it. By and flew for a day and a night. They began to descend slowly. Everyone were about to arrive at the Devil Xia region. Old Duan said. We've arrived at the Devil Xia region. On Swan-Ni's back, a group of young people looked excited as they looked down at the scene below. Wow. Boss Xiao, we finally arrived at the legendary Devil Xia region. Fatty is so nervous. Fatty Zhu's face was hot and red. He rubbed his eyes and stared down. I want to see what the Devil Xia region is like. Xiaohan could not hide his excitement and curiosity. He looked out. With one look, Xiaohan was shocked. What he saw was a big world. There were continents, oceans, divine mountains that glistened with the light of treasures, palaces that rose and fell majestically like heavenly palaces, burning with golden splendor, and grasslands that were full of immortal herbs and lingji. Looking down from the sky, there were many rivers that flowed like jade ribbons. Xiaohan saw that the azure ocean was very magnificent. The sea was sunny and breezy, exuding the aura of spring. Huge ships were anchored at the port along the coast, and many shops and high-end buildings had been set up. Moreover, everything here was very colorful and rich in layers. There were mountains in the distance and rivers nearby. It was full of dreamy poetry. The air was clear and clean, pure and untainted. There was not the slightest trace of the demon clan sent here. The Devil Hero region is really overflowing with spiritual chi. I can feel it with just a slight breath. The air was warm, lingering, and nourishing. When inhaled, it could even wash away the impurities and filth in the body. Snow Bath Spirit. I thought that if someone was born here, they would definitely be born with a strong physique, immune to all diseases, and their meridians would be unobstructed. The origin of the Yaoxia region is many times stronger than that of the four regions. Mo Qingtong also sighed. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, looking intoxicated and enjoying it. In the azure sky there were still birds and birds flying past. There were even rays of light, and traces of some powerful figures could be vaguely seen. After coming to the Devil Hero region, the younger generation of the southern region were like country bumpkins entering the city. Their eyes were filled with surprise and shock, and all of them were overwhelmed and intoxicated. Suddenly Xiaohan saw that in the middle of the Devil Hero region, there was a towering pagoda. The pagoda was at least 100,000 meters tall, and it pierced deeply into the sky and the clouds. It was majestic, ancient, elegant, and magnificent, and it stretched for thousands of kilometers. It gave off a scholarly aura, and it gave off a sense of civilization and enlightenment. It caused the world to be filled with a righteous aura, and it simply made one feel deep veneration. The whole body of the pagoda was blooming with sacred rays of light, making people unable to look at it directly. It was like a temple. Layers upon layers. It was divided into layers, and each layer was magnificent. It was estimated that there were more than 1,000 layers. It was really too solemn. Not only could it not be seen at a glance, but it also made people want to kneel down and worship. It was as if this pagoda was the birthplace of the civilization of the entire Jianghu continent. Vaguely, a large number of giant reliefs could be seen carved on the pagoda. The contents of these reliefs could not be seen clearly, but it seemed to be describing the birth of this world and the mysteries of this universe. This pagoda was really suffocating. This was just looking at it from afar. If they approached the pagoda, even Xiaohan could not guarantee that they would not prostrate and worship it. Young people, this is the Devil Hero Pagoda. The bald elder Duan introduced as he landed on the ground. His tone was very serious and solemn. What you are looking at is the core building of the entire Devil Hero region, the Devil Hero Pagoda. It is supreme. It can be said that it is the Devil Hero Pagoda that supports this world, so that it will not become a paradise for the demons. It is the holy land in the hearts of all the demons. How great! A young woman exclaimed. It's really great. I heard that the owner of the Devil Hero Pagoda is an immortal. I wonder if it is true. Ha ha ha. The bald elder Duan and the other old antiques all began to laugh. They exchanged glances with each other, but none of them said anything. Elder Duan continued. Young people, don't make wild guesses. There is still some distance to the examination venue. Everyone be quiet and listen to this old man's explanation. Everyone held their breath. They looked at Elder Duan eagerly. Xiaohan also licked his lips, his heart full of fascination. The Devil Hero region is very vast. Only after becoming a Devil Hero will you be qualified and have the authority to stay in the Devil Hero region. It is impossible for mortals and ordinary martial artists to enter the Devil Hero region. In the Devil Hero region, there is a civilization that is beyond your imagination. This is a place greater than the depths of the great wilderness. Once you become a real Devil Hero, then the Devil Hero region will be your home. Elder Duan said with a smile. The Devil Hero region belongs to the Devil Hero. Wow! The young people cheered in their hearts. Elder Duan's simple words had aroused their desire to become Devil Heroes. It was extremely provocative. Elder Duan continued. As for the Devil Hero Pagoda, this old man will tell you. Even if you are a Devil Hero, you also need to spend a lot of contribution points to enter. The Devil Hero Tower is the pinnacle of the entire Devil Hero region. Because this year's Hex trial was the one with the highest value. So here this old man will give you a hint. In this year's Devil Hero trial, the little guy who stands out and finally becomes a Devil Hero will directly obtain the right to enter the Devil Hero Tower. Ah, you have to know. Some low-level Devil Heroes will never have the chance to enter the Devil Hero Tower in this life. Senior, in the Devil Hero Tower, what kind of magical civilization and great things are there? A young man could not help but blurt out. Ah, young people are too curious, just like this old man back then. Elder Duan's attitude was very kind. When I was your age, I followed the senior Devil Hero to the Devil Hero region to participate in the trial. I also asked a lot of questions and wanted to know everything. Ah. To put it simply, in the Devil Hero Tower, there is the most advanced auction house in the entire Jianghu continent, where you can buy anything you want. What are they? For example, any news and intelligence you want, all kinds of immortal herbs, immortal medicines, keys to various secret realms, maps, and even the elixir of immortality. By the way, there are also immortal techniques which have also appeared in the auction house. There are many secret cultivation rooms in the Devil Hero Tower. there are also ancient and great teleportation formations. In short, you can find everything you want in the Devil Hero Tower. Wow! The group of young people was excited again. Senior, you mean in this year's Devil Hero trial, as long as you become a Devil Hero, you can directly enter the Devil Hero Tower? A young man's face was flushed. Yes. Your cohort has this privilege. I remember when I was in my year after I became a Devil Hero, I experienced many life and death missions, and it took me about 10 years to earn enough contribution points to enter the Devil Hero Tower. Of course, to be honest, the mortality rate in my year's Devil Hero trial was not as high as yours. The difficulty is relatively much lower. Elder Duan said with certainty. After a pause, Elder Duan's expression became serious again. Okay, everyone, let's have a brief understanding of the Devil Hero region and the Devil Hero Tower. Don't delve into it for the time being. Now for you, the top priority is the Devil Hero trial. You will soon enter the entrance of the examination room, waiting for the candidates from the east, west, north and great wilderness. Once everyone had arrived, the first examiner of the official competition would appear. I'm only responsible for sending you to the entrance of the examination room. It's up to you how you're going to go. Like you, I'm from the southern region. Therefore, I hope that every candidate here can successfully become a Devil Hero and win glory for our entire southern region. However, I have to say that the Devil Hero trial is extremely cruel and terrifying, and can even be called abnormal. From the moment you enter the entrance of the examination room, your life will completely enter a countdown. If you want to survive and become a Devil Hero, then you have to work hard. Okay, close your eyes and rest. In a few hours, we will arrive at the entrance of the examination room. Brother Xiao, it's great to become a Devil Hero. We can live in the Devil Hero region. Especially after entering the Devil Hero Tower, it's full of novelty and all kinds of things that we've never heard of. Mo Qingtong looked excited. Hu Yang was also thinking. If I can enter the Devil Hero Tower and pay the corresponding price, I will definitely be able to find out the true culprit behind my family's massacre. The fat on Fatty Zhu's face trembled. Boss Xiao, did you hear that? There's even an immortal technique in the Devil Hero Tower. Do you know what Fatty's dream was since he was young? That is to become an immortal. Brother Zhu, your dream is really too great. Xiao Han was speechless. Fatty Zhu kept laughing dryly. After calming himself down, Xiao Han's expression also became very serious. I suggest that everyone not fantasize too much about the Devil Hero region and the Devil Hero Tower. After all, that's still very far away. What's in front of us is the main competition. The death rate is more than 90% of the main competition. In short, don't dream first, let's talk about it if we can survive. Yes. Xiao Yunrong nodded very seriously. Yes, Boss Xiao, what you said makes too much sense. Speaking of which, Fatty was getting more and more nervous. In a while, we will meet the geniuses of the Eastern region, Western region, Northern region, and the Great Wilderness. I don't know what they will look like. Will they all look fierce and want to kill Fatty the moment they meet? I really feel so scared. How can I pretend not to be afraid or nervous? Fatty? Shut up. Don't be so long-winded. Mo Qingtong glared at Fatty Zhu, scaring him into hiding behind Xiao Han. A few hours later, Bian flew towards a divine mountain. Before landing on the top of the mountain, Elder Duan's voice sounded again. Everyone get ready. We've arrived at the entrance of the examination room. Chapter 162. The entrance to the test site was set up on the peak of an endless sacred mountain. At the peak of the mountain was a huge man-made square. It covered an area of more than 100,000 acres. At first glance, it seemed to be boundless. The swan and I broke down into billions of rays of light and merged into Elder Duan's acupoints. All of you wait here, Elder Duan and the other old-timers who had come with him said. At this time, the participants from the other regions and the vast wilderness had not arrived yet. There were only 300 participants from the southern region, looking around nervously. The area of the square was too big, making the few hundred people in it look very small. On one side of the square was a steep cliff, and on the other side was a huge and heavy stone door. The stone door was dozens of feet high and 7 or 8 feet wide. It was tightly shut and no one knew what was behind it. There were many obscure patterns and runes engraved on the stone door, adding to its mystery. I guess the path to the test site is behind the stone door, Xiao Han said to Mo Qingtong and the others. Xiao Han, Mo Qingtong, Fatty Zhu, Huo Fan, and Xiao Yunrong formed a small group, clearly separated from the others. Once the stone door opens, we'll enter the main competition, Hu Fan said in a low voice. He looked very nervous and his heart was beating fast. I wonder what the first test is. Old Duan and the other old-timers who had come with him stopped chatting with the youngsters and simply stood off to the side, waiting. At this moment, Xiao Han and Mo Qingtong, a cold and arrogant man's voice sounded. A group of people walked directly toward Xiao Han and the others. This group was led by Li Ziki and Cheng Feng, one of the top 10 seeded participants of the Southern Region preliminaries. Xiao Han looked up and saw the devilish Li Ziki greeting him and Mo Qingtong. Xiao Han, we're about to enter the main competition. Li Ziki walked over and looked at Xiao Han. Li Ziki was young and handsome, but his eyes were too sharp and full of vigor. He had a kind of pride that made everyone bow down to him. His temperament was almost devilish. Cheng Feng, who was standing beside Li Ziki, glanced at Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong and Wuxia with undisguised lust. There were more than 100 people following behind them. Xiao Han, it wasn't easy for you and Mo Qingtong and Fatty Zhu to stand out from the death group and get a place in the main competition. However, the main competition was many times more difficult than the preliminaries. With just the strength of the three of you, it will be very difficult to survive. Li Ziki said coldly and arrogantly. How about this? You guys join my team and Cheng Feng's. Together we'll fight against the other powers in the main competition. Gain a reputation and become a swordsman. Join your team? Xiao Han was stunned. To be honest, he had never thought of teaming up with anyone unrelated to him. Xiao Han couldn't even completely trust Mo Qingtong, Fatty Zhu, and the others, let alone Li Ziki and Cheng Feng, whom he had never interacted with before. Moreover, Li Ziki's temperament was too gloomy. He was definitely not a good person. Cooperating with such a person was tantamount to asking a tiger for its skin. Mo Qingtong, Fatty Zhu, Xiao Yunrong and Wuxia didn't speak. Seeing that Xiao Han didn't agree to the request of teaming up, Li Ziki's killing intent flashed in his eyes. His pupils contracted and he said indifferently. Xiao Han, there are 10,000 people participating in the main competition. It's no small matter. You can't be naive enough to think that you can pass with just the few of you, right? How stupid. Cheng Feng and I have roped in more than 100 people. We can be considered a rather influential team. If you don't join us and don't borrow our power, you'll definitely die. Towards the end, Li Ziki's tone was no longer one of discussion, but a naked threat. Hey! Xiao Han's heart was boiling with anger. He was a person who could be persuaded by reason but not cowed by force. Being threatened directly made him feel very uncomfortable. Moreover, Xiao Han saw Cheng Feng's greedy gaze at Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong and Wuxia. This made Xiao Han instinctively feel a surge of killing intent. Xiao Han sneered. He said indifferently. Join your team? I'm not interested. Xiao Han. Cheng Feng suddenly looked at Xiao Han viciously. His whole body was filled with demonic aura, and his killing intent was terrifying. You probably think that by defeating idiots like Xia Feng and Huo Lai, you're the strongest in the younger generation of the southern region, right? Ah, you're too naive. Xiafeng and Huo Lai are just little flowers kept in a greenhouse by the sect. You can't defeat them with your real ability. Now I'll give you a chance. If you're willing to join our team, it'll be good for you, me and everyone. If you disobey. After entering the main competition, I'll have plenty of opportunities to deal with you. At that time you won't even know how you died. This Cheng Feng was extremely bloodthirsty. Moreover, he was a rogue cultivator who lived on the edge of the Jianghu. He could easily kill an entire sect and was lawless. Therefore now he publicly issued an ultimatum to Xiao Han. Get lost. Xiao Han didn't even think about it. He said indifferently. Get lost right now. Hearing this, Li Ziki and Cheng Feng's faces were filled with anger. True qi surged in their bodies as if they were ready to attack at any time. Mo Qingtong smiled. Her magic eyes of Jianshui became brighter and brighter. Fatty Zhu's whole body trembled as if he was scared out of his wits. His fat ball-like body kept retreating, but between the rolling of his eyes, there was a trace of undetectable killing intent. Alright. Don't attack for now. It's not worth it if these idiots affect the main competition. After entering the main competition, I'll make them regret it. Li Ziki looked at old Duan and the others in the corner of the square. Then he gave Xiao Han and the others a deep look and signaled Cheng Feng to leave. On the other side of the square, the Crown Prince of Lingshan and Tian Tian of the Ocean Emperor sect had also roped in hundreds of people. The Crown Prince of Lingshan also looked at Xiao Han with an imposing manner. When he saw Li Ziki and Cheng Feng returning in defeat, he was slightly stunned. Then he observed and analyzed Xiao Han with a playful look. Mo Qingtong's eyes swept over from time to time, and there was a strong sense of dominance between his brows. The main competition had not officially started. Even the geniuses of the other regions and the great wilderness had not arrived yet. The square was already filled with the smell of gunpowder and undercurrents were surging. If old Duan and the others were not present, blood would have already flowed like a river. "Boss Xiao," Fatty Zhu said in a low voice, "those guys are so fierce. Fatty is afraid that they have ulterior motives and will stab us in the back during the main competition. So scary." "Brother Zhu, don't be afraid. When the time comes, I'll cover you. You just need to release your giant sword and crush all of them to death. That's all." Xiao Han smiled. His eyes were filled with killing intent. "Sweat. Boss Xiao, are we really going to make a move?" Fatty Zhu licked his lips. "Once we enter the main competition, anyone who is disadvantageous to us will be wiped out in advance," Xiao Han said with an unquestionable tone. Then he looked at Mo Qingtong. "Miss Mo, what do you think? If Brother Xiao says to kill, then let's kill," Mo Qingtong said softly. Her tone was like that of a gentle and virtuous wife who was obedient to her husband's every whim. However, the killing intent and demonic aura in her eyes were shocking and monstrous. Xiao Yunrong secretly observed Fatty Zhu and Mo Qingtong. She nodded secretly. These two guys are not simple characters. Of course, Xiao Han is not simple either. Back then, in our Xiao clan gathering, Xiao Han was only at the physical body realm. Although he was monstrous at that time, he was not heaven-defying enough. But now I can't see through him at all. At this moment, scarlet clouds surged in the sky, and true energy surged like a tide. A huge primordial phoenix covered the sky and covered the sun. There was lightning lingering between its wings as it flew over like an aurora. Boom. Soon, the primordial phoenix landed on the plaza on the summit. It turned into rays of light and auspicious clouds and merged into the body of a skinny, black-robed, sinister-looking old man. A group of young people were led by a few old antiques to the plaza. All of these young people were full of vigor and vitality. Their true energy burned like the sea, and their battle prowess was shocking. "Ah! Brother Duan, our northern domain's enchantresses are here." The black-robed, skinny old man laughed loudly. Elder Duan brought a few old antiques with him to welcome them. Elder Duan smiled. "Brother Ouyang, the young people of the northern domain this time are all extraordinary." "Ah, same here. The 300 enchantresses of the southern domain are also outstanding. There are a few who are quite decent." The black-robed, skinny old man's gaze pierced through everything. He glanced at the 300 young people of the southern domain. Immediately, the 300 young people of the southern domain felt like they had been seen through. The demon egg and seal in Xiao Han's heart shrank to a speck of dust. He did his best to control the spirit turtle's true energy to seal the demon emperor's palm tattoo on his left arm. He was extremely nervous. The participants of the northern domain's main competition had finally arrived. At this moment, the young generation of the northern and southern domain were looking at each other with deep hostility in their eyes. Xiao Han, although the northern domain only has a third of the southern domain's people, their battle prowess is not inferior at all. "I see at least a dozen guys with auras comparable to Li Ziki and Cheng Feng," Xiao Yunrong whispered to Xiao Han warily. "It doesn't matter. Let's look at the geniuses of the eastern domain, western domain, great wilderness, and the devil hero domain." Xiao Han was calm and steady. At this moment, the young people of the northern and southern domain have arrived? A rough voice came from the western sky. However, Brother Duan, Brother Ouyang, the young generation of the western domain has been living in an abyss of suffering since they were young. They have to be on guard against the invasion of the demon clan at all times. Who asked the demon clan of the western domain to be so rampant? To be able to grow up in such an environment, the youngsters were all able to take charge of their own affairs, and they were extremely outstanding. I think the young people of the western domain are the best of the 4 domains in terms of battle prowess and survival ability. They won't lose to the powerful eastern domain. A primordial red dragon came from the west. An old man in a red robe stood on the dragon's head, looking down on the world. On the dragon's back there were 10 young people. All of their eyes were firm and fierce, and their battle intent was wild. It was as if a casual glance was a provocation. "These are the most outstanding young people of the southern and northern domain?" "I don't think so. I wonder if they will wet their pants after seeing the demon clan." A young man in a white robe with dark skin said. His eyes were like swords piercing through the sky, and his whole body was rolling with a strong battle intent, dominating the wilderness. As soon as he spoke, the young people behind him all laughed out loud, as if they were not afraid of anything at all. The ferocity of the Western Domain's people was vividly reflected by this group of young people. For a moment, the young people of the Northern and Southern Domain all stared at the young people of the Western Domain angrily. Even on the Northern Domain side, there were already many people who started cursing. Ah! Young people should be like this as soon as they meet. There is no smell of gunpowder at all. How can it be called the Devil Hero Trial? The old man in a red robe who led the young people of the Western Domain here not only didn't stop them but also laughed. The next moment, boom, in the eastern sky auspicious clouds surged, heavenly flowers fell, and divine sounds were faintly discernible. A 3-story ship that was hundreds of feet long came with the wind. There were some young men and women walking around on the ship. All of them had extraordinary grace and noble auras. Strong waves of true chi swept across the entire peak in an instant, firmly suppressing the aura of the young people of the Northern, Southern, and Western Domain. This ship seemed to have come from the celestial world, making the people on the ship as hazy as fog and as ethereal as clouds, all like immortals descending to the mortal world. They were so superior. On the deck of the ship was a young man that was terrifyingly handsome. His entire body was coiled with dragon chi, and his aura was oppressive and luxurious. He held a jug of wine in his hand and was drinking lightly, and he had a graceful bearing like a noble young master. His gaze swept downwards and his tone was light as water. I heard that the talents of the Southern, and Western Domains are declining, far less prosperous than our Eastern Domain. Today I see that it is true. In the Southern, and Western Domains, there are only a few young people who can barely hold the fort, but they want to participate in this year's Devil Hero Trial. When the time comes, they will all die without a burial place, sad and pitiful. Why do you have to do this? The guys in the Eastern Domain have always been arrogant. They have been like this since ancient times. When I participated in the Devil Hero Trial, I also met a group of guys from the Eastern Domain, and they were all killed by me. Today another group has come. How I wish they would all be wiped out. Elder Duan's eyes were frighteningly vicious, and the muscles at the corners of his eyes kept twitching. Brother Xiao, the people from the Eastern Domain have come. TSK, there are a lot of them. Mo Qingtong looked up and said in Xiao Han's ear. Yes, there are 1,500 places in the Eastern Domain, more than 3 times the total number of places in the Northern, Southern, and Western Domains. Xiao Han nodded. The ship disassembled. 1,500 beautiful people from the Eastern Domain, led by several old antiques, descended to the peak. These young people from the Eastern Domain were all like imperial envoys who had come to the countryside. They all looked at the young generation of the Southern, and Western Domains with a sense of superiority, as if they were looking at country bumpkins. These young people from the Eastern Domain were all wrapped in auspicious clouds, auspicious chi, long rainbows, and extravagant flowers. They looked very imposing. Of course, among the 1,500 people, there were a large number of geniuses with high realms, terrifying auras, and special physiques. They should not be underestimated. Xiao Han observed for a while and found that among the people from the Eastern Domain, there were many experts in the 5th level of true chi. There were also some people who had obviously comprehended saber intent or sword intent. Ha ha ha, Devil Hero region? The children of the great wilderness are here. Ah! Suddenly, a rumbling voice exploded from the sky, like the roar of a demon god. An obscure pressure came from afar. Everyone on the plaza at the summit raised their heads to watch. They saw a huge dark cloud rolling over. In this dark cloud, thousands of tyrannical auras converged, causing the clouds in the sky to automatically split open, and the air to crackle under the pressure. In the dark cloud, there were roars of wild beasts and cries of fierce phoenixes. These sounds tore gold and iron, and pierced through metal and stone. Vaguely, thousands of people could be seen in the dark cloud. Every one of them was like a demon god. Their flesh shells crushed everything and a slight breath could shatter the air. The danger shattered the tranquility of the area. Waves of aura of the great wilderness covered the sky and covered the earth. Suddenly, a 3-meter-tall middle-aged man took a step forward. His mouth was like a sea of blood, his eyes were like the sun and moon, and his head was like a mountain. Anyone who looked at him would feel as if they had fallen into a boundless and terrifying desolate land. This middle-aged man's flesh shell was so strong that it was hard to describe. A slight breath seemed to be able to suck the whole sky into his stomach. It was just like the primordial demonic rock who could swallow the sun and the moon. This year's Devil Hero Trial is the stage for the children of the Great Wilderness. All the places to advance will fall into the hands of the children of the Great Wilderness. The fate of the world has gradually shifted to the Great Wilderness. This year's Devil Hero Trial will prove this point. The middle-aged man said arrogantly. The people of the Great Wilderness had also arrived. There were a lot of people, up to people. The lineup was so grand that it was shocking. Chapter 163. The geniuses who participated in this year's Monster Hero Trial competition had arrived. Most of the geniuses came from the Great Wilderness, several times more than those from the East region. They finally arrived at the plaza at the peak of the mountain. The young generation of the North, South, East and West region all looked over. The young generation from the depths of the Great Wilderness were too vigorous. Their flesh shells had the power to pull the earth from the sky. Some had pupils that were almost turning pale gold. Some even had horn-like sarcomas on their foreheads. Some had glistening skin like stars and gems. Some looked like ferocious beasts. Some were full of evil chi as if they wanted to kill and eat people with just a glance. Some were covered with ferocious and ancient tattoos. Some even had scales growing on their arms. Some had an ancient and profound aura with the aura of an emperor. When they opened and closed their eyes, lightning lingered. Shocking people. Some seemed to be born a few meters tall, very special, obviously a mutant. Some had a body like a treasure shell, with scarlet clouds and runes flashing. The people of the Great Wilderness came in all shapes and forms. Under the lead of the 3-meter-tall middle-aged man who released a heart-palpitating aura, the children of the Great Wilderness stood in line. They were also observing the young people of the North, South, East and West region. Most of them had disdain and ridicule in their eyes. Of course, although the Great Wilderness was powerful, the young generation of the North, South and East region were not too afraid. Those who were selected to participate in the main competition were all geniuses. They would not be easily frightened, instead their fighting spirit was aroused. Xiao Han sealed his aura and the power of his flesh shell tightly. He was as calm as still water, observing the people of the Great Wilderness with great interest. His eyes were very clear, showing his inner calmness. Boss Xiao. Those are the people of the Great Wilderness. Their aura is too shocking, all of them look fierce. They are almost human. They should be our biggest enemies in the main competition. Fatty Zhu seemed to be scared silly, nagging in Xiao Han's ear. Yes, there are many experts in the Great Wilderness. Xiao Han nodded seriously. I heard from the sect master that in recent years, there has been a surge of talents in the young generation of the Great Wilderness. Many geniuses have been born. It seems that the ones participating in the main competition this time are the most outstanding ones. You just had to be careful. Other than that, the Eastern region is also flourishing. The Eastern region is flourishing and is the cradle of geniuses. Countless heroes with legendary experiences have risen there. Even though their numbers are not as good as the Great Wilderness, their quality is terrifyingly high. Comparatively speaking, our southern region, northern region and western region are indeed much weaker. Now on the summit square, there were nearly 10,000 people, which suddenly raised the atmosphere, making the atmosphere of the Hex Hero preliminaries burst out at once. Elder Duan and the other old-timers were in charge of the 300 competitors from the southern domain, while the old-timers from the other domains and the Great Desolation kept the restless youngsters in check. That way there wouldn't be any chaos. Alright, calm down. You must be very nervous right now, right? That's right. All the participants are about to arrive and the main competition is about to begin. It's impossible not to be nervous. Elder Duan lectured the 300 youths from the southern mountain range in a low voice. I can't help you too much. Try to control your emotions. Wait for the first examiner. Another old antique chimed in. When the first examiner comes, all of us who are not involved will have to leave. At that time, you will be completely handed over to the examiner. Elder Duan, seniors, I have a question. The Crown Prince of the Lingshan Empire suddenly spoke. Huh? The Crown Prince of the Lingshan Empire, right? What other questions do you have? Elder Duan asked. Elder Duan, in the main competition, do the contestants have to fight with each other? The Crown Prince of the Lingshan Empire glanced at the people from the Eastern Domain and the Great Desolation. If there is a bloody battle between different camps, the Northern, Southern and Western domains will be at a disadvantage. Our numbers are less than that of the Eastern Domain and far less than that of the Great Desolation. If there is a melee, I'm afraid that the three domains will be wiped out. Hearing this, the faces of the younger generation of the southern domain became solemn. Elder Duan thought for a moment, then said, "The examination questions of every hex hero preliminaries are different. But according to my experience, it's unlikely that there will be a melee. The examination questions will be very complicated and tortuous. Sometimes it's even purely a gamble of luck, not entirely based on one's realm and combat strength. Of course, there will definitely be fights between the contestants, and there will definitely be people who die in the hands of other contestants. In short, many unexpected things will happen. Well, don't ask any more, wait for the arrival of the first examiner." At this moment, boom, a ray of light as if from the 9 heavens shrouded the summit square. In an instant, heavenly flowers appeared in the void and fell one after another. Golden lotuses appeared on the ground, and the clouds were steaming. It was incomparably sacred. Young men and women with almost invincible auras walked out of the light. All of them were spotless, dignified and dignified. No more, no less, they were all people. They were all very young. There were men and women. All of their eyes were as deep as the Milky Way, glowing with an otherworldly brilliance. It was as if they were born to be superior to others. As soon as these people appeared, their eyes swept across the young people of the eastern, southern, northern and western domains, and then looked at the people of the Great Desolation. Then they all looked away and didn't look at anything else. It was as if they were born with a kind of pride and nobility, and looking at others was a kind of charity. These fellows are really arrogant. I know, the last young man named KC must be from the Wuxia region. The sect master once said that this is a talent cultivated by some of the old antiques of the Wuxia region. They are known as the biggest variable in this year's Wuxia trial, the most terrifying group of people. Xiaohan's heart moved. Now, all the contestants who participated in this year's Wuxia trial had arrived. 1,500 people from the eastern domain, 300 people from the southern domain, people from the western domain, people from the northern domain, 100 people from the Wuxia region, and people from the Great Desolation. There were a total of 10,000 people, no more and no less. Well, everyone is here. Elder Duan nodded. I think the first examiner will appear. Even I don't know who the first examiner will be. Everyone, our mission can be considered to have been completely completed. It's time for us to retire. The rest will depend on the performance of the youngsters. Leading the northern region. The enchanting, skinny old man in a black robe also retreated to the side with a smile. In this way, many antiques all retreated to the side and gathered together to whisper and talk, no longer looking at the young people as if they had completely let go. This time all the little guys are here. It is indeed the most prosperous generation in history. Although there are only 10,000 people, the quality is too high. Yes, many young people actually have the quality to become low-level Wuxia. Now they have to go through a cruel selection and maybe they will die. Thinking about it, I feel a little pity. These talents will be one less person if they die. You can't say that. The young people who can become Wuxia this time will all be brilliant in the future. They will revitalize our human clan, and maybe one day there will be immortals among them, Whether there will be immortals or not, I dare not make a conclusion, but I hope to see our human clan completely drive the demon clan out of this land in my lifetime. Even destroy the demon clan. At this time, a sudden cough sounded in the middle of the square on the summit. The cough wasn't loud and it was faintly discernible. There was even a smell of gossamer. But everyone present felt as if their souls had been hit by a heavy hammer. All the young people, including Elder Duan and the other old antiques, were taken aback. They all looked in the direction of the sound and saw that in a deserted corner of the square, a void was slowly condensing, and then a door appeared. The door was very small, and the color of the wood showed that it was a wooden door. With a creak, the wooden door opened, and a sickly old man with a bent back and a sallow face walked out. The old man was emaciated, and at first glance, people could tell that he was only 40 to 50 kilograms, and he was very weak. And the most eye-catching thing was that the old man was a cripple. His left leg was dragging on the ground, making him look very comical. After a closer look, it turned out that his left leg had been broken, and now he was wearing a prosthetic one. It seemed that the old man was not only emaciated, but also half-crippled. The young people in the square were full of doubts. But Elder Duan and the other old antiques showed deep fear in their eyes. Elder Duan said in a low voice, "So the first examiner is him." As expected of the cruelest devil hero trial in history. The first examiner is such a cruel and experienced devil hero. These young people are going to suffer. I reckon that after the first round of examination, Many people will die. All right, Brother Duan, don't make any noise. Let's leave. So that we don't offend this crippled old man. Damn it, when I was young, I participated in the Devil Hero trial, and this crippled old man was the examiner for the second last round. He looked like this at that time, and after so many years he still looks the same without any change. TSK, what an old monster. Let's go, let's go. The red-robed old man who brought the many beauties from the western region here urged repeatedly. In the past, the lame examiner would have appeared in the second last or third round. Who would have thought that he would appear in the first round? Dangerous, too dangerous. The 3-meter-tall middle-aged man who led the children of De Huang here also clicked his tongue. Cough, cough, cough. The crippled old man kept coughing as his gaze swept across all the young people in the square. His aura was extremely weak, as if he was a candle in the wind at the end of his life, and could be extinguished at any moment. Furthermore, there was not the slightest fluctuation of true qi on the crippled old man's body. At first glance, people would conclude that he was just a sloppy old man with one foot in the grave. Boss Xiao, this old man, could he be the first examiner that Elder Duan mentioned? Fatty Zhu asked with an extremely incredulous voice. Don't make a sound. Xiao Han glared at Fatty Zhu. At this moment, the demon egg in Xiao Han's heart was emitting an extremely uneasy sense of danger. It was almost motionless, lying dormant like a speck of dust. It was as if it had become a dead object. This crippled old man is probably even scarier than Elder Duan. Xiao Han was clear in his heart. Cough, 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 cough. The crippled old man violently coughed a few times, and immediately said with a voice that was as weak as a gossamer. These are the little fellows who are participating in the selection this year? It's not bad, much more interesting than the previous years. His voice sounded very weak, but strangely in such a huge square, it could be clearly transmitted into everyone's ears. All right, this old man will be your first examiner. The crippled old man grinned and immediately looked towards Elder Duan and the others, and impatiently waved his hand. All of you quickly leave. Don't stay any longer, leave these little fellows to this old man. There's nothing for all of you here. After the crippled old man said this, Elder Duan and the others immediately left the summit square. Right now, in the entire summit square, there were only 10,000 participants and this nondescript crippled old man. Oh my god. This is the examiner for the first round of the examination? It can't be? It's just a crippled old man. It doesn't look like he has any cultivation, a half-crippled person. How is he going to test us? I originally thought that the examiner would definitely be a mighty figure who could swallow the 9 continents, who could shoot through the heavens. I didn't expect that it would be a skinny old man. His life force seems to have dried up. He should be an antique that is thousands of years old or even tens of thousands of years old, and his lifespan is about to end. Let's not talk too much first, let's see what the first round of the examination is about. After knowing that this crippled old man was the examiner for the first round of the examination, many participants started to discuss in low voices, expressing their disbelief. Cough, cough. The crippled old man coughed a few times again and immediately said weakly, Little fellows, congratulations on passing the intense preliminaries, entering the main competition and coming here. I am very honored to be the main examiner for your first round of the main competition. Then this old man wants to tell you the first examination hall is behind this stone door. The crippled old man stretched out a finger that was as thin as a bamboo stick, and pointed at the huge sealed stone door at the end of the square. What will be behind that stone door? Xiao Han's heart was filled with anticipation and also restlessness. The main competition is really about to begin. No matter how difficult it is, I, Xiao Han, will definitely win. In the end, I will become a demon hero. To be continued. Chapter 164. The heavy stone door was tightly shut. On the stone door, there were many obscure inscriptions and patterns engraved, looking extremely mysterious. Knowing that the first examination venue was behind the stone door, the 10,000 contestants all looked forward, hoping that the crippled old man could open the stone door quickly. The audience held their breath. Xiao Han licked his lips and stared at the stone door, his heart beating faster. However, the crippled old man did not seem to have any intention of opening the stone door immediately. Instead, he kept nagging. Little guys, as you know, the competition is about to begin. It's really thrilling. You must be very nervous and excited, right? Ah. He laughed, revealing his missing teeth, making a funny sound like a bellows. Many of the contestants wanted to laugh, but they tried hard to hold it back. The crippled old man kept nagging. The mortality rate is very high in the Hex Hero preliminaries. Sometimes if you are not careful you will lose your life. Especially this year, the mortality rate is more than 90%. The crippled old man actually nagged for more than half an hour. He kept saying some platitudes but still refused to open the stone door. Brother Xiao. Mo Qingtong whispered beside Xiao Han. This old man is probably 10,000 years old. He seems to be senile and confused, talking incoherently. How can such an old guy be the chief examiner? If he goes on like this, he won't be able to finish in a few hours. Miss Mo, this old man is unfathomable. Don't talk too much. Just listen. Xiao Han laughed involuntarily. At this moment, this examiner? Among the people of the great wilderness, a young man more than 3 meters tall, with a strong back and a bear's waist, eyes like a ferocious bird, and a green eagle tattoo on his left cheek. It was vivid and fierce. Between his breaths, his flesh shell moved slightly, releasing a strong power to crush everything. He took a step forward, crossed his arms, and said proudly, "Examiner, everything you said has been said several times by our tribe's Hex Hero. I don't think it's necessary to repeat it. The mortality rate is high in the Hex Hero preliminaries, but we are all willing to take risks. That's why we are able to get through the bloody battles in the preliminaries and come here. Examiner, hurry up and open the stone door." Oh. The crippled old man paused. He narrowed his eyes and looked at this young man from the Great Desolate. A ruthless light flashed in his old eyes as he slowly said, "You're a little fellow from the great wilderness, right? Didn't your tribe's heroes teach you to respect the examiners? All right, your spot in the main competition has been taken away. Scram immediately." What? The young man was taken aback for a moment before a fierce glint appeared in his eyes. "Examiner, I fought with my life on the line and finally managed to get into the main competition. How can you deprive me of my place in the main competition with just a few words? I'll say it for the last time. Cough, cough, cough." The crippled old man kept coughing as if he was about to die from coughing. "Preposterous. A rotten old man like you actually told me to scram? Do you know that I'm the most outstanding young man in the Aguda tribe?" He tore a luan with his bare hands as if he was tearing a piece of paper, and he had even opened a true acupoint and cultivated to the 4th level of Jinchi. "Yet you want me to scram?" That young man's words were filled with anger, and he actually roared in front of him. A portion of the men and women of the great wilderness also became restless and wanted to join in the commotion. However, the young man hadn't finished speaking when the crippled old man raised his right hand. That shriveled and withered right claw grabbed the air. Puchi. There wasn't a trace of true energy fluctuation, but the airflow between heaven and earth suddenly collapsed inward. A large part of the sky seemed to be easily grabbed by his palm. That young man from the great wilderness let out a miserable scream. His entire body seemed to be sucked into the crippled old man's palm. He had completely lost any ability to resist, and he was like an ant that was being pinched. In the next moment, bang! The crippled old man's palm clenched together, and a large part of the space seemed to be obliterated. The body of the young man from the great wilderness instantly exploded, disintegrated, and evaporated. Soon it disappeared without a trace. He didn't even have the time to let out a miserable scream before his entire body was completely annihilated. He was actually casually destroyed by the crippled old man. This claw was something that none of the young men present would be able to resist. It was simply an almighty ability that could pluck the stars and seize the moon. Ah! The children of the great wilderness standing around the young man's body were so shocked that their faces turned ashen. They quickly retreated, still in a state of shock, and no longer dared to say a word. The young men from the north, south, east, and west regions also looked at each other in dismay and kept quiet out of fear. This crippled old man is really cruel. One wrong word and he directly grabbed someone to death. Not even his bones were left. Xiao Han also couldn't help but look at Mo Qingtong, Fatty Zhu, and the others. The subtext was, "Don't make a ruckus or else you'll bring about a fatal disaster." Mo Qingtong's pretty face was pale with fright. Fatty Zhu was also so scared that he shrank his neck. Xiao Yunrong and Hui Yang's hearts were even colder. Someone had died before the competition even started. It was too terrifying. It's just a little aphid and it can't stop jumping around. The crippled old man flicked his fingernails, as if he had casually pinched a small fly or mayfly to death, insignificant. He cleared his throat. "Everything that your elders told you before, they don't count. From now on, I have the final say." There was dead silence and no one dared to complain. The crippled old man opened his mouth. If it wasn't for me and my old buddies risking their lives to fight against the demon race great emperor and annihilate many demon emperors, how could you little fellows be where you are today? You really have no respect for your seniors, no respect for your superiors. After saying a lot of things, he was finally satisfied. After a full 2 hours, the crippled old man finally stopped talking. He flicked his right index finger slightly, and a piercing sound resounded throughout the vast chalk field. At the same time, there was a rumbling sound, and a huge scroll appeared above the vast chalk field. It was about 100 feet long and spread out. Countless words appeared on it, as if it contained another world. The young man on the vast chalk field looked at it and found that the words on the scroll were actually names of places and people. It was densely packed. My name is on the scroll too. Xiaohan saw that on the bottom left of the scroll, there were small words written very clearly. Southern Region, Beacon Fire Empire, Pure Cloud Sect, Xiaohan. Moreover, Xiaohan also saw some names that he was familiar with, such as Southern Region, Beacon Fire Empire, Pure Cloud Sect, Huiyang Southern Region, Beacon Fire Empire, Mingjian Villa, Xiao Yunrong Southern Region, Dark Shadow Empire, Heavenly Demon Sect, Mo Qingtong. Listen, all the young people who are participating in this year's Devil Hero trial, your names are on this scroll. There can't be any omissions. Now, split a strand of your origin true chi and inject it into the scroll. Light up your names on the scroll. In your origin true chi there are traces of your soul, essence, chi and spirit. This will be considered as your information left on the scroll. Once you die in the main competition, your name will be dimmed so that the people outside who are paying attention to the trial will know the situation. Alright, let's light up your names. Hearing this, many young people did not dare to be negligent. They each shot a trace of origin true chi onto the scroll and accurately poured it into their name. In an instant, the countless names on the scroll lit up, glistening and lifelike. This is interesting. Xiaohan smiled faintly and casually shot a trace of origin true chi to light up his name. Alright, that's enough. After all the contestants had lit up their names, the scroll was like an immortal list. True chi fluctuations rolled around, looking very noble and colorful. The crippled old man nodded with satisfaction and waved his hand. The scroll floated away. Alright. Now, I will announce the rules of the first exam and open the stone door. Everyone listen carefully. The crippled old man announced. In an instant, all the contestants on the field held their breath and pricked up their ears to listen. Devil Hero Region. A glittering notice floated above the Devil Hero Region and expanded in the wind. In an instant, it grew to a length of thousands of feet and a height of hundreds of feet. It was so large that it covered the sky and the sun. Every name on the notice was magnified infinitely. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Wuyu Xiaomingchu Dongfang Qin Fang Ling, and a group of devil heroes had already flown to the Devil Hero Region. When they looked up and saw the list floating in the sky, they all stopped. Sect Master, the main competition is about to begin. Junior brother Xiaohan and junior sister Huiyang have already lit up their names. Xiaomingchu said excitedly. Perhaps the first test has already begun. I hope junior brother Xiaohan and junior sister Huiyang's names will always be so bright and never dim. Well, it has finally begun. Wu Yu put his hands behind his back and his clothes fluttered like an immortal. Come, let's enter the Devil Hero Tower. We can watch the competition in more detail. Let's go, brother Wu. Let's enter the Devil Hero Tower together. I'm also very worried about Qing Tong at the moment. I am afraid that something will happen to her. Watching from the Devil Hero Tower, we can even see some details of the competition. It is better than standing here and looking at the list. The Heaven's Devil Old Man also came over. Heaven's Devil Old Man, let's go to the Devil Hero Tower together. Wu Yu smiled and nodded. At this time, Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling said in unison, Sect Master, we don't have enough contribution points. We can't enter the Devil Hero Tower to watch the competition at will. Sect Master, I don't have much contribution points left. I can only stay in the Yaoxiao Pagoda for 7 days and 7 nights. The main competition can't be completed in 7 days and 7 nights. Xiao Mingchu looked like he was in a dilemma. It doesn't matter. We still have some extra contribution points. It is enough for us to stay in the Devil Hero Tower for a year and a half. Let's go together. Wu Yu smiled. In the next moment, they turned into a stream of light and flew towards the Devil Hero Tower. Everyone wait for Fatty. Fatty is also going to watch the competition and cheer for little Fatty. Zhu Ganglai caught up from behind. On the other side. Brother Zhua, I don't have enough contribution points. Please lend me some so that I can enter the Yinxia Tower and watch every match of the Yinxia trial. Shimen Piaoxue, the owner of the Mingjian Mountain Villa, said to a middle-aged man in red with an apathetic expression. The middle-aged man in red nodded. Okay, I can temporarily lend my contribution points to Brother Shimen. I don't need Brother Shimen to return them. However, the next time we besiege the Demon Emperor, please team up with me. Let's go. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, rays of light poured into the Devil Hero Tower like carps crossing the river. Many chivalrous heroes entered the Chivalrous Hero Tower to watch the Chivalrous Hero trial from all angles. Known as the cruelest Devil Hero trial in history, it was indeed a gimmick to attract people's attention. As for the low-level Devil Heroes who didn't have enough contribution points, they sat in other places of the Devil Hero region and watched the announcement floating in the sky. They could also see which names on the announcement had dimmed, so they could understand the general situation of the competition. Many contestants gathered in the wide chalk field. The crippled old man said solemnly, "The first match of this year's Devil Hero trial will be held on an island. Now I will announce the rules of the competition. After the stone gate opens, you will follow me through the tunnel into a port and then take a boat to the island. A few days later, a demon will fly over the island. Well, it's a demon emperor, but it won't take the initiative to attack you. What you have to do is to resist the pressure and demon aura brought by this demon emperor. Any contestant who panics will be eliminated. You will be eliminated. You must talk and laugh without fear under the pressure of the demon emperor. This is the most basic condition to become a devil hero. Well, the first round of the exam is very, very simple, right? Is that so? The first round of the exam is to resist the demon emperor's demon aura. It doesn't sound difficult. A young man from the western region looked relieved. When I was in the western region, I once saw a demon emperor. The demon aura was indeed very terrible and could break people's minds. But as long as the demon emperor doesn't take the initiative to attack, it's still possible to stay calm. The first round of the exam is to adapt to the demon aura. Xiaohan also knew in his heart. Logically speaking, it's almost impossible to kill a demon emperor with the resources of these contestants. There's a 100% chance of being killed. Even when the demon emperor deliberately released his aura, it would be difficult for him to remain calm. However, I have a demon egg in my heart that can greatly dissolve the demon aura that invades my body. This round of exam, at least for me, will be relatively easy. Brother Xiao, this is bad. Fatty has never seen a demon emperor before. I don't know if I can withstand that fierce and shocking demon aura. Fatty Zhu's face was filled with fear. Xiao Yunrong also blurted out. Xiaohan, Yunrong has only seen the dying demon emperor of Beixian. I have never seen the demon emperor at his peak. Don't worry, the examiner said that the demon emperor won't take the initiative to attack the contestants. This round of exam will be relatively easy. I think it's just for us to warm up. Calm down. Xiaohan encouraged. At this moment, crack crack crack, crack crack crack, the heavy and mysterious stone door finally opened slowly. The stone door is open. Immediately many contestants shouted. Don't push, line up and enter the stone door. The crippled old man shouted. Go. Enter the stone door. The exam has finally begun. Xiaohan couldn't hold back his excitement and directly walked towards the stone door. Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, Huo Fan, and Fatty Zhu followed closely behind. Chapter 165. The stone door was wide open. It was a sign that the most brutal devil hero preliminaries in history had officially begun. The crippled old man led the way slowly and entered the stone door. The contestants followed closely behind him. Xiaohan and the others were also mixed in the crowd. Behind the stone door was a dark and bottomless tunnel. It was 7 or 8 feet wide and more than 100 feet high. When someone entered it, it was like being swallowed by a giant beast. In the dark cave, the contestants' bodies emitted the light of true qi, which could illuminate the cave. But the atmosphere in the cave was gloomy and horrible. Vaguely, there were even sounds of ghosts wailing and wolves howling, which made people's scalps numb. And the most frightening thing was, no one knew how long the cave was. The crippled old man walked at a steady pace in front of them. No contestant dared to surpass him, so they couldn't fly in the cave with their true qi. The team moved forward slowly and no one knew when they would reach the end. Xiaohan, this cave is very deep. Xiao Yunrong whispered in Xiaohan's ear. Her voice was also a little timid. I don't know why, but it makes people feel scared. This place is filled with the smell of danger everywhere. Sister, are you afraid? Mo Qingtong smiled. If I'm afraid, Why should I participate in the main competition? It's not so easy to become a devil hero. If you are really afraid, you might as well give up as soon as possible. Mo Qingtong seemed to be very used to this gloomy and strange environment. She smiled like a belle. You. Xiao Yunrong stared at her. Well, don't quarrel. Xiao Han smiled faintly. In this cave, there is an inexplicable atmosphere that makes people have inner demons. Actually, it's nothing. Yunrong, your sword intent can quench nothingness and all negative emotions. I think you are too nervous and even forgot your sword intent. Ha! Xiao Yunrong was stunned. Soon, a flash of sword light flashed in her bright eyes and forcibly cut off the panic. All of a sudden he felt relaxed. She said with relief. Much better now. Xiao Han, I was really out of my wits. At the beginning of the competition, I was so nervous that I even forgot to use my sword intent. Thank you for reminding me. Just like that, everyone followed the crippled old man and walked in the cave for several hours. The road ahead was still completely dark. It seemed to be boundless. Panting sounds began to rise and fall in the team. After more than 20 hours, some of the contestants started to slow down and become tired. Their footsteps and eyelids became heavier and heavier. Some even bent over and panted heavily. This was not a physical exhaustion but a mental exhaustion and hollowing out. It was enough to make people collapse. Another few hours passed. The crippled old man led the team around a corner. Shockingly, drip, 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 the sound of water dripping could be heard ahead. In the quiet cave, the sound of water dripping suddenly resounded. It was extremely frightening. Moreover, the sound of water droplets seemed to be a sharp sword that could pierce through one's soul. Each sound was like a heavy hammer that directly pounded on one's soul. Ah! In the team, a young man from the northern domain finally let out a hysterical wail, almost beating his chest and stamping his feet as he bawled. I give up. I don't want to participate in the main competition. He covered his ears, turned around, and ran back. Panic that made people collapse spread out like a plague. Soon, more than 100 people could not endure the ravaging and torture that originated from their souls. They all gave up and turned to run. Ha! Those who want to give up can return the way they came, said the crippled old man with a dry laugh. However, most of the contestants present were geniuses with firm willpower. They were invincible and could withstand it. There were even some contestants who let out mocking sneers, expressing their disdain for the people who had fled. Soon, bang, bang, bang. Not far away, the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground could be heard. There are 137 names that have completely faded from the list. All right, the rest of you, continue forward. The corners of the crippled old man's mouth twitched as he turned around and walked forward. Boss Xiao, those fellows who gave up on the main competition and ran back are all dead? Fatty Zhu said with wide eyes. Previously, the examiner said that only the essence of true energy that was infused into the names of the dead contestants would be destroyed, causing their names to become dim. Those people must have already died, Hua Gang said with a palpitating heart. The first examination has not even officially begun, but more than 100 people have died on the way. It is indeed cruel. Actually, this is also telling us that if we don't advance, we will perish in the devil hero preliminaries. Xiao Han nodded seriously. I think that to become a devil hero, one's spirit must be as sharp as a treasured blade, flawless and untainted. If one can't even withstand this little bit of training, how can one cultivate true qi? How can one become a devil hero? Let's go, continue forward. Xiao Han had experienced many life and death battles and had undergone several transformations. Therefore, even without using his saber intent, he could still resist the strange atmosphere in the cave. Suppress the inner demons. He still had strength to spare. Furthermore, Xiao Han realized that under the treacherous atmosphere of the cave, breaking through the true acupoints was much easier than usual. Xiao Han's heart stirred slightly. Immediately after, while walking slowly, he tried to break through the 31st true acupoint. The 31st true acupoint was a bottleneck from the 3rd level to the 4th level of true qi. It required sufficient foundation and opportunity to break through. Drip, 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 the sound of water dripping in the cave became more and more frequent. The demonic sound seeped into the brain and destroyed the liver and intestines. However, Xiao Han had already entered a mysterious state of no man and no self. The various intrusions from the outside world did not affect him. He was gradually entering the optimal state of breaking through the true acupoint. After walking for a few more hours, the sound of water dripping disappeared and was replaced by a faint salty smell. Some light shone through the cave entrance, accompanied by the sound of waves rising and falling. Finally, we are going to pass through this tunnel. It seems to be an ocean outside. Hua Fan blurted out in Xiao Han's ear. At this moment, pooh! From within Xiao Han's body, the sound of a butterfly breaking out of a cocoon burst forth. It was as if a wild beast had awakened in Xiao Han's body. A sharp light flashed in Xiao Han's eyes like a bolt of cold lightning, illuminating the pitch-black cave. Phew! I have finally broken through the 31st true acupoint and reached the 4th level of true qi. Xiao Han exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Brother Xiao, are you breaking through the true acupoint? Mo Qingtong was the first to react. Xiao Han smiled faintly. At the same time, pooh, 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 pooh. In the cave, the sound of eggshells breaking rang out one after another. For a moment, the cave was filled with light, giving off a dense aura of treasures. It seemed that Xiao Han was not the only one who knew how to make use of the atmosphere in the cave to break through his acupoint. At the front of the group, the crippled old man's footsteps paused slightly. The corner of his mouth curled into a faint smile as he muttered in a barely audible voice. This group of little fellows, there is a portion of them that is quite interesting, quite interesting. Finally, the group exited the cave. Outside the cave, the sky was clear and the sun blazed like fire. It was a stark contrast to the gloomy and ghostly environment in the cave. This was a golden beach. Under the illumination of the sun, the sand reflected a dazzling brilliance, as if it was shards of gold. Beyond the beach there was a vast and boundless ocean. The scorching heat waves brought along a salty sea breeze mixed with a fishy smell. Flocks of seabirds soared above the blue sea. These seabirds were of a different species, like the luan birds of the vast wilderness. They were huge in size and had gorgeous and beautiful feathers. From time to time, giant fish would leap out of the sea, stirring up huge waves. Not far away there was a port where dozens of metal ships were anchored. But there was no one around. On these metal ships, there was the image of a sea god holding a trident, engraved with a large number of complicated lines and characters, emitting a mystical brilliance. It seemed to be some kind of formation. The contestants looked left and right curiously. All right, let's all board the ship. Head to the island. Begin the first test. The crippled old man walked towards the port. Choose a ship at will. Remember 2 things. First, there are ancient sea beasts hibernating in the deep sea that even the sea god has to avoid. Therefore you can't casually release your true qi to fly. You must board the ship, otherwise you will die without a burial. Second, you must know your place on the ship. Don't quarrel or fight. Otherwise you will be disqualified from the main competition. Hearing this, the contestants swarmed towards the port. They each chose a giant ship. Xiao Han and the others boarded one of the ships. There were also a large number of young people from the 4 regions on the same ship as Xiao Han and the others. There were even some children of the vast wilderness. The huge deck was full of people. Soon, a total of 10 ships were loaded with nearly 10,000 contestants. They pulled the anchor and set sail. The ships were very magical. They did not need to be piloted and could sail automatically to their destination. Xiao Han, Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong, Hua Fan, and Fatty Zhu stood by the railing, talking in low voices while admiring the sea. There was indeed an island in the distance, like a pearl embedded in the sea. This should still be within the territory of the Yaoxia region, right? Xiao Han asked with a frown. Mo Qingtong smiled faintly. Perhaps. But there is no one in this area. It is a specially set up examination venue. Suddenly, everyone saw some buildings that looked like lighthouses standing on the surface of the sea. The top of the lighthouse was inlaid with a kind of black gem that looked like a strange pupil. It radiated a misty light that spun here and there. Oh? Xiao Han was stunned. This is a strange or that is very precious. It is said to come from beyond the heavens. It can record images. Qingtong had read about it in a book when she was young. It is called the Magic Eye Stone, Mo Qingtong blurted out. Mo Qingtong blurted out, and then a thoughtful look appeared in her eyes. Qingtong knows. Our exam process has also been recorded. Maybe someone is watching us through the Magic Eye Stone. Is that so? Xiao Han touched his nose. At this time, Li Ziki and Qing Feng appeared on the left of Xiao Han and the others. The sea is magnificent. But it hides great danger. Death is very close to us, isn't it? Li Ziki looked at Xiao Han and the others coldly. Xiao Han, the younger generation of the eastern region and the vast wilderness is stronger than we imagined. I will give you one last chance. You can choose to join our team. Otherwise, as I said, get out of here, Xiao Han said lightly. Good, very good. I hope you won't regret it. Li Ziki and Qing Feng glared at Xiao Han with resentment. Then they walked away. Xiao Han glanced around and saw Li Ziki and Qing Feng walk to the other side of the deck and talk to a sturdy young man wrapped in animal skin. That man must be from the vast wilderness. His body shone with 41 five-pointed star true acupoints, indicating that he was at the 5th level of true qi. His flesh was as strong as the sea and flowed with precious light. Let's take a break. It will take some time before we can go to the island. Xiao Han sat down directly. Maybe there are other dangers on the island besides the contents of the examination. Xiao Han saw that the young man from the vast wilderness who was talking to Li Ziki and the others was staring at him with an undisguised murderous look. Moreover, he kept staring at Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong and Ho Yang. Xiao Han also saw that Li Ziki and Qing Feng were laughing and looking at him with gloating eyes. Chapter 166. I don't care what tricks you have up your sleeves. As long as you provoke me, I will kill you all. In this competition, survival is of utmost importance. You can do whatever it takes. Xiao Han looked indifferently at Li Ziki and Qing Feng, who had rich expressions. Then he closed his eyes and rested his mind. Fatty Zhu followed suit and sat down. Li Ziki and Qing Feng nodded to the young man from the great wilderness and walked away. The man from the great wilderness walked to the railing at the side of the deck. He held the railing with both hands and looked into the distance. There is no ocean in the great wilderness. This is the first time I have seen the ocean with my own eyes. The image of a 6-armed dragon flashed in his eyes and the corner of his mouth curled into a sinister smile. Wanyan Gu, you are one of the few young warriors in the Golden Flow ancient country. I heard that you shot down a great luan with 1 arrow when you were 7. I admire you very much. A bald young man walked over. There was a hurricane roaring in his eyes. There was a sand scorpion tattoo on his bald head. Every inch of his flesh and blood had the power of 10,000 horses galloping. He was very fierce. Oh, Ada of the scorpion race. I have heard of you. Your tribe is very strong and you are famous for your ferocity. Wanyan Gu said coldly. What did those 2 people say to you just now? The people of the 4 regions are very cunning. Don't be used by them. Ada smiled. It is impossible for those trash to use me. In the face of great power, everything seems small and childish. They only told me that they found a few attractive women. Wanyan Gu turned back to look at Mo Qingtong, Xiao Yunrong and Hua Fan. Such a feast for the eyes. It is rare to see such beautiful women in the great wilderness. This time I, Wanyan Gu, traveled thousands of miles to come here. Not only do I want to become a hero, but I also want to taste those beauties that are more charming than the women of the great wilderness. Of course, I will have to kill those cowardly people of the 4 regions. I see this competition as a fun game. Indeed. The fellows of the 4 regions are too weak compared to the warriors of the great wilderness. We can kill them as we please. Ada nodded. It is very meaningful to become a hero. You can learn the rare true Qi divine technique of the great wilderness. I hope that the children of the great wilderness can take all the spots of the heroes. On another ship, a man in black and a man in yellow were leaning against the railing with strange expressions. Ahaha. The yellow-clothed man laughed strangely, his eyes burning with an indescribable excitement. Very interesting. Really interesting. There is no game more fun than this. The yellow-robed man had an aura that could destroy the void. Wherever he looked, the space would show faint signs of shattering. As for the black-robed man, his eyes were as deep as a devil's domain. It was as if a single glance from him could devour a person and consign them to eternal damnation. Xianqi, it's been 5 years since we last met, and your divine art of annihilation has already reached perfection. Congratulations. This time you have a greater chance of surviving than 5 years ago. The black-robed man sneered. Same here. Tang Feiping, your hard demon curse fist has improved a lot, right? In the Eastern Domain, there aren't many people in the younger generation who can defeat you. The yellow-clothed man flattered. It's been 5 years. I've been thinking about this year's Devil Hero Trial competition day and night. I want to see what's the difference between this year and the last one. The black-robed man, Tang Feiping, said indifferently. Yes, there are fewer people this year, but there are more experts than the last one. Moreover, there are many people from the great wilderness. We can't underestimate those guys. The yellow-clothed man, Xianqi, said. After a pause, he said eagerly. Although our realm and combat strength are not the strongest, we have the experience of participating in the Devil Hero Trial competition. Ah. In the last one we participated. Although we didn't successfully become the devil hero, we survived. There are so many fresh lives waiting for us to play with. It's so exciting. Playing with and killing these rookies is even more interesting than becoming a devil hero. I can't wait anymore. Ah. Xianqi, you're really a bad guy? You take pleasure in playing with rookies. However, I like your way of thinking. The black-robed man Tang Feiping laughed. That's why we can be friends. The yellow-clothed man Xianqi suddenly lowered his voice. There are not many people who know that we have participated in the Devil Hero Trial competition once. This allows us to enjoy the endless fun of killing rookies. But we still have to be careful. There are some very strong guys this time. Tang Feiping's face darkened. Moreover, there are several guys like us who have participated in the Devil Hero Trial competition once or even twice. Don't worry, we all know that the Devil Hero Trial competition is not just about pure realm and combat strength. If we can't even deal with some rookies, then we are too useless. Xianqi was full of ambition. Devil Hero Domain. The notice, which was filled with names, fluttered in the wind in the sky, like a giant flag shining brightly. However, there were some names that had completely faded away. At this moment, in the entire Devil Hero domain, countless devil heroes were staring at this year's Devil Hero Trial competition. In a restaurant, the tables were arranged in a picturesque manner, and they were filled with powerful Taoists. The competition has begun. More than 100 people have died. A middle-aged devil hero in white looked at the sky outside the window. 138 names on the list have faded. Ah, this is just the beginning. A middle-aged devil hero in black with a curly beard took a sip of wine. In the next few days, I'm afraid more and more contestants will die. It's a pity that we don't have enough contribution points to go to the Devil Hero Tower to watch the video. What a pity. You want contribution points? Then let's form a team to hunt down a demon emperor. A demon emperor can be exchanged for a lot of contribution points. The middle-aged devil hero in white said half jokingly and half seriously. Ah, brotherly, don't joke. Hunt down a demon emperor? We don't have that ability yet. Killing high-level demon generals is already our limit. The middle-aged devil hero in black with a curly beard laughed at himself. Devil Hero Tower. The magnificent Devil Hero Tower exuded a simple and civilized aura. The 29th floor. In a certain spotless restaurant on this floor, many mighty figures with unfathomable auras were sitting in the restaurant and enjoying their meals. Wu Yu, Heaven's Devil Old Man, Xiao Mingqiu, Zhu Ganglai, Dongfang Qin, and Feng Ling sat around a table. They looked at a crystal-clear gem floating in front of them. On the gem, some images appeared. It was an endless ocean and a total of 10 metal ships. Each metal ship was loaded with thousands of young people. Sect Master, this ocean is the first examination venue of this year's Devil Hero Trial? I have never seen this examination venue before. Xiao Mingqiu sat lazily on a wooden chair with a piece of hay in his mouth. I have never seen it before either. Wu Yu took a sip of wine. Heaven's Devil Old Man, Zhu Ganglai, Dongfang Qin, and Feng Ling shook their heads. I don't know how difficult the first examination is. Zhu Ganglai smirked. But 138 names have faded on the list. It seems that the examination hasn't started yet? The chief examiner is the crippled old man. Heaven's Devil Old Man looked serious. This crippled old man is a fierce person. With him as the chief examiner, I optimistically estimate that at least thousands of people will die in this examination, maybe more. Now that things have come to this, we can't help it all. We can only watch the progress of the competition from here. Wu Yu shrugged. Let them do it themselves. A big ocean. The fleet was gradually approaching the island. All the contestants stared at the island curiously. Xiao Han and his companions also completely shifted their attention to the island. They saw that the island was also very vast. On the island, giant evergreen trees covered the sky and the earth. Occasionally, some thick old vines could be seen, spreading out for hundreds of feet like a dragon. There was also a gem-like lake on the island, surrounded by colorful flowers and wisteria. There were also slightly shorter pineapple trees, coconut trees, and lychee trees. In addition, the roars of ferocious birds and ferocious beasts could be heard from the island. The entire island was filled with an inexplicable sense of danger, causing one's heart to palpitate. It was as if, in the depths of the island, there was a ferocious creature that chose to devour people. Brother Xiao, I'm afraid this island is not that simple. Mo Qingtong narrowed his eyes slightly. Qing Tong feels that there are some terrifying creatures hidden on the island that are enough to kill us. Extremely terrifying. In the sea around the island, whirlpools were everywhere, the waves were rolling and the densely packed beast bones were floating. Every bone was incomparably huge and emitted a tragic aura. It was obvious that it was the skeleton of some savage beast, but for some reason, it died in this sea, leaving only bones behind. Boss Xiao, the bottom of the sea is not calm either. There must be a deep-sea giant beast hibernating so terrifying. Fatty Zhu said with trembling teeth. I felt it too. However, since we're here, let's take things as they come. Xiao Han said solemnly. At this moment, the crippled old man's body floated up. He stood in the air on the surface of the sea, coughed a few times and then said, Listen, the ship is about to reach the shore, all of you go ashore. Once you reach the island first, don't run around. In the depths of the island, there is a forbidden area that seals ferocious creatures that you can't imagine. If you rashly enter the forbidden area, you will be turned into ashes in an instant. Second, prepare well. Tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, the Demon Emperor will pass by the island. Third, the ship will dock at the pier on the west side of the island. When the Demon Emperor passes by the island, if something unexpected happens, you can rush to the pier. Once you board the ship, it will carry you to a safe area. However, I hope that you can persevere on the island. No matter what happens, I hope that you can stay on the island. Anyone who escapes to the pier and leaves by ship will be eliminated. After giving his instructions, the crippled old man's figure flashed, and he almost teleported into the island. At this time, the 10 ships sailed into a simple pier on the west side of the island. The ships automatically docked, and the contestants jumped onto the island one after another. Xiao Han landed on the ground of the island and looked around. He saw a lot of lush vegetation, birds chirping and fragrant flowers everywhere. If he didn't consider the roars of ferocious birds and fierce beasts coming from the island from time to time, this place was indeed a paradise, a pure land. Xiao Han immersed his mind into the demon egg in his heart and sensed around, but didn't find the aura of a demon. Once the contestants came ashore, they entered the depths of the island and disappeared into the primitive forest. Come, let's go deep into the island. Don't stay on the shore, Xiao Han said hurriedly. Yes. Let's find a safe place to hide. Tomorrow or the day after, the Demon Emperor will descend. Who knows what will happen? Fatty Zhu said timidly. The group walked into the island. Xiao Yunrong turned back frequently, looking at the pier where the ship was docked. She also looked around. Sister, why are you looking around? Mo Qing Tong smiled sweetly. I've memorized the path. Once there is a major change that endangers our lives, we can return to this pier and leave by ship, Xiao Yunrong answered. I won't leave by ship. Even if I die, I want to stay on the island. I must become a demon hero, Huo Fan said resolutely. Roar, at this moment. Behind a towering ancient tree, a three-eyed wolf suddenly jumped out. Its body was comparable to an elephant. It opened its bloody mouth and pounced toward Xiao Han and the others. At the same time, a giant python that was dozens of feet long and had a single horn on its head slithered out from the bushes. Behind a cluster of bright-colored flowers, a black centipede that was dozens of feet long slowly crawled out. Above it, a ferocious tiger with wings swooped down and roared, stirring up a gale that uprooted a large part of the forest, instantly turning it into dust. Fight! Xiao Han roared. Chapter 167. This beautiful island was originally a vicious island with many savage beasts hibernating. Once someone trespassed their territory, they would suffer a terrifying and fatal attack. The examiner didn't say that there were ferocious beasts that took the initiative to attack people on this island. Fatty Zhu wailed. At the same time, Mo Qing Tong raised her jade-like arm and a demonic force field smashed out. It was several acres in size and directly enveloped the winged tiger. The light distorted and in an instant, the tiger was dismembered in the air, turning into a rain of blood. Xiao Yunrong slashed out with a swift and fierce sword chi that contained sword intent, and the horned python collapsed inch by inch. Huo Wu's true chi turned into a small mountain that crushed down and crushed the black centipede. Xiao Han waved his hand like a knife, and a door-sized knife chi slashed the three-eyed wolf into pieces. The battle quickly ended. Phew. Huo Wu heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, these savage beasts aren't too strong. However, at this moment, roar! From afar, a ferocious beast roar could be heard. It was as if an ancient beast was roaring angrily. This sound pierced through metal and stone, tore through the clouds and went straight into the sky. It shook everyone's eardrums and caused their minds to go blank. It had the smell of shattering mountains and rivers. Ah, ah. What followed was the blood-curdling screams of humans on the verge of death, heart-wrenching and lung-splitting. Dong, 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 the huge creature was moving, causing the entire island to tremble slightly. Everyone be careful and advance step by step. There are big fellows on this island that we can't deal with. Xiao Han's expression was solemn. It seems that some contestants have already died to the giant beast's kiss. That examiner tricked us. Fatty Zhu mumbled. Roar. The beast's roar sounded again and the island shook. However, from the sound, it was indeed far away from Xiao Han and the others. However, even so, it still made their hearts palpitate and their hair stand on end. Roar. However, at this moment, Suddenly, Xiao Han suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. A fear that came from the depths of his heart instantly gripped Xiao Han. This was an instinctive reaction to death and danger that Xiao Han had developed after experiencing many life and death battles. It was almost like a sixth sense. When Xiao Han raised his head slightly, a bewitching light was already shooting towards him. This beam of light was silent and undetectable. It pierced through everything, seeking life from 1,000 miles away and pursuing the soul from 10,000 miles away. It could almost cut through any defense, and vaguely, there seemed to be traces of heavenly punishment. Xiao Han's scalp went numb and his hair stood on end. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, Xiao Han no longer had the time to use his saber intent to block. In a tenth of a breath's time, Xiao Han's mind spun rapidly, and the indestructible golden body surged. Beams of golden light shot out from Xiao Han's body, causing him to shine brightly. Dense bone inscriptions appeared, and Zen chants filled the air. The demonic light shot into the golden light and slowed down a little. Xiao Han tilted his head. Xiao, the demonic light practically brushed past Xiao Han's neck. This caused Xiao Han's throat to be sliced open. If it weren't for the fact that Xiao Han's indestructible golden body had been trained to an extremely high level, he would have died from that. Ding! The bewitching light stabbed into the trunk of a towering ancient tree. Ka. The huge tree cracked inch by inch and withered inch by inch. It was a flying saber. A 3-inch and 7-foot long flying saber. Xiao Han took a step forward and pulled out the flying saber. The cold light was dazzling and a few tiny words were engraved on the blade. Li Ziki. It's Li Ziki's flying saber. Fatty Zhu shouted. Too sinister. This guy actually plotted against you, Boss Xiao. But this saber is indeed powerful enough to kill without leaving a trace. Li Ziki is too much. As a member of the younger generation of the southern region, he actually launched a sneak attack. His flying saber is said to never miss its target. Fortunately, Xiao Han, you have comprehended the saber intent, and your thinking is faster than ordinary people. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Xiao Yunrong said with a face full of lingering fear. Xiao Han, chase after Li Ziki and kill him. If he is heartless, we will be unjust. We can't catch up. Mo Qingtong's devil eyes stared into the distance. He is at least dozens of miles away. A saber came to kill through the air. But for the time being, we don't need to worry about his sneak attack again. His saber is very extreme, condensed with supreme mental strength. It will take some time to recuperate if it doesn't hit. It's really dangerous. Xiao Han weighed the flying saber in his hand and immediately flicked his finger, breaking the flying saber into pieces. If I hadn't broken through to the 4th level of true Qi and improved my thinking and reaction speed, I don't know if I could have avoided that saber just now. From now on, Li Ziki will be the person I must kill. Let's go. The next moment, Xiao Han led his companions around a cluster of coconut trees and slowly moved forward. At the same time he reminded them. Now, not only do we have to be wary of the fierce beasts on the island, but all the contestants may be our enemies. The atmosphere was extremely tense, like a taut bowstring. The deathly aura of the devil hero preliminaries was clearly felt inch by inch, penetrating deep into the wood. However, in this state it could also better refine the spirit and sharpen the will, which was of great benefit to the physical body. On a small mound dozens of miles away, Li Ziki sat cross-legged, his face pale as he adjusted his breathing. Qing Feng and hundreds of young men and women surrounded the mound. After dozens of breaths, Li Ziki opened his eyes, a ruthless light flashing in them. Xiao Han is really powerful. Even such a sneak attack couldn't kill him. Instead, it took a lot of my energy and made me feel haggard. Unfortunately, now that he is on guard, it won't be so easy to kill him again. It doesn't matter. Qing Feng waved his hand. The competition has just begun, there will be plenty of opportunities to kill him. If people like Xiao Han don't die in the future in the southern region, among the younger generation, we will be completely suppressed by him, unable to rise again. Moreover, since we have already attacked, we will not stop until one of us is dead. People like Xiao Han will not give up so easily. Roar, the roar of a giant beast came from afar. Ferocious and violent. And accompanied by a few sporadic human screams. Li Ziki, Qing Feng and the others all showed a look of fear. Li Ziki stood up from the mound, frowning. Let's find a place to hide first, don't wander around, this island is very strange. There are ferocious and powerful creatures hibernating here. Moreover, those fellows from the eastern region and the great wilderness are also very difficult to deal with. Let's hide, don't provoke anyone and wait for the Demon Emperor to come. As long as we can withstand the Demon Emperor's demonic aura, we will pass the first round of the test. Let's go, there is a valley about a mile ahead with wild grass and jagged rocks. It is very well hidden. We can hide there. Qing Feng strode forward. Li Ziki and a group of people followed closely behind. Xiao Han and his companions walked through the dense forest, on the island where apes and tigers roared. At least 70 to 80% of the island was covered by primitive vegetation, and from time to time, there would be several meter-long skeletons on the ground. It was a scene from the ancient times. The deeper they went into the island, the more they felt a sinister and deathly aura. In front of Xiao Han and company, a man from the great wilderness wrapped in beast skin was shrouded in a haze of light. He tore a giant rhinoceros to pieces with his bare hands, drinking the beast's blood and eating the beast's meat and organs. He looked back at Xiao Han and company with a ferocious glint in his eyes, eager to make a move. Xiao Han and company stopped in their tracks. The man from the great wilderness pondered for a few breaths before retreating. He probably wanted to attack just now, but he was afraid when he saw that there were so many of us. Damn it, the fellows from the great wilderness are really barbaric. They actually drink human flesh and blood. Fatty Zhu clicked his tongue. Extremely disgusting. Xiao Yunrong frowned. Suddenly, boom, the air trembled and waves of air surged. The retreating man from the great wilderness suddenly rushed out of the forest and pounced at Xiao Han and company, murderous intent filling the sky. He had actually pretended to retreat in order to lower the guard of Xiao Han and company. Then he suddenly went berserk and wanted to kill. Xiao Han raised his right hand and slashed out with a hand blade, crushing the air. Saber chi surged and slashed at the man's body with lightning speed. Blood splattered. However, this saber chi was unable to destroy the man from the great wilderness. It only left a saber mark on his body, showing the strength of his flesh shell. His ferocious nature was aroused. True chi filled his body as he was about to release his strongest attack. Wang, a pile of withered grass under Xiao Han's feet suddenly emitted a saber hum. Suddenly, each withered grass seemed to transform into a peerless saber. With unrestrained and untraceable saber momentum, it slashed at the man from the great wilderness at a speed 10 times faster than the speed of sound. Before the man from the great wilderness could launch an attack, his entire body was slashed into pieces. Junior brother Xiao Han, your saber intent is really powerful. Killing people is like picking up grass. Wu Fan exclaimed. Middle stage saber intent. Grass, wood, water and water could all be used as sabers. These fellows from the great wilderness are also extremely cunning. If we encounter people from the great wilderness in the future, we definitely cannot relax. They are too bloodthirsty, Xiao Han reminded. Then they continued walking forward. As he walked, his clothes fluttered in the wind. At this moment Xiao Han's spirit was tense, but his face was as cold and calm as a rock. There was a steadiness that did not match his actual age. Xiao Yunrong and Huo Wu were stunned and quickly followed Xiao Han. Mo Qingtong's demonic eyes also flashed with a glimmer. Fatty Zhu on the other hand sucked up to him and followed behind. Not long after, Xiao Han and company found a valley. Let's rest here. Xiao Han sat down on an upright bluestone and looked up at the horizon. A huge luan happened to fly past, casting a huge shadow on the island. But soon it was shot by an arrow burning with true qi. Blood rained down. Brother Xiao, Qingtong will go look for food nearby and pick fresh fruits, Mo Qingtong said. Miss Mo, I'll go with you. Wu Fan stood up as well. Be careful, Xiao Han reminded. Mo Qingtong and Wu Fan left the valley together. Xiao Yunrong sat beside Xiao Han. As for Fatty Zhu, he took out a broadsword from his true acupoint and dug a hole in the ground. Using both his hands and feet, he quickly dug a large hole that was dozens of feet deep. Fatty, what are you doing? Xiaohan was surprised. Boss Xiao, Fatty dug a hole and we can hide in it secretly. Don't worry, Boss Xiao. Fatty is good at digging holes. When the time comes, we can hide in it and no one will find us. It can also resist the Demon Emperor's demonic aura. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, Fatty Zhu said as he kept digging. That works too? Xiaohan was stunned. However, he ignored Fatty Zhu and prepared to close his eyes to rest and consolidate his various martial arts. Xiaohan, I wonder when the Demon Emperor will appear, Xiao Yunrong murmured. Xiaohan looked at the sky. It was still noon. The examiner said tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. In short, we have to be vigilant at all times. We can't believe the examiner's words completely. This Hex Hero tryout is very strange. In a valley at the center of the island, the crippled old man sat on a wooden chair with his legs crossed. As he drank, he happily hummed a little tune. Roar, the roar of a beast came from nearby, causing the valley to tremble. The little guy is being naughty again. The crippled old man narrowed his eyes. Suddenly, a gigantic beast the size of a mountain ridge appeared outside the valley, roaring continuously. It was a malevolent and terrifying giant beast. Its entire body was earthen yellow and covered in scales. Every scale had an ominous glint rolling on it. Its neck was very long, more than 10 meters long. There was a lion's head on its neck, and its eyes were like millstones, emitting a dim light like a torch. It was extremely fierce and miserable. The most terrifying thing was that on its mountain-like back, there were cold and sharp bone spikes. Each bone spike was more than 3 meters long and there were hundreds of them. These bone spikes seemed to be able to tear through everything. It roared a few times at the crippled old man. The crippled old man waved his hand impatiently. Okay, I'll allow you to go out for another 50 miles. Remember, don't be too ostentatious. If there are too many deaths in this first round, it won't be fun. The higher-ups will also scold me. If those young people meet you, they're just unlucky. Roar. The beast seemed to be able to understand the crippled old man's words. It roared happily a few times and trampled on the ground. It's really hard to be an examiner. The crippled old man drank a mouthful of wine and said lazily. It's really difficult to grasp this sense of propriety. I'm afraid that if the difficulty is too high, too many people will die. I'm also worried that if the difficulty is too low, it won't be interesting enough. Hey, let's start the assessment tonight. Do they naively think that it will only start tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? There's no time for them to prepare. Let's start the assessment tonight. Let's see how many people will be eliminated in the first round. The 29th floor of the Demon Hero Tower. In a restaurant. Wu Li, Xiao Mingqiu and the others sat around the round table drinking tea. Their eyes were fixed on the image that appeared in the clear gem in front of them. It's a savage island with a large number of giant beasts that attack the contestants, Fang Ling said. The image on the gem kept changing, it was bizarre and dazzling. Impressively, a mountain-like giant beast with a neck more than 10 meters long and fierce blue eyes trampled the jungle. Its roar shattered the mountains and rivers. When it encountered some contestants, it directly roared and turned them into powder, never tired of it. What? There's actually such an ancient species? Dong Fangqin suddenly stood up. Even junior brother Fang Ling and I can't resist the fierce power of this giant beast. It's at least equivalent to a human at the peak of the 6th level True Qi realm. How is this possible? Could it be that the first assessment is to fight with this giant beast? Then all the contestants will die, it's impossible for anyone to pass. The first round shouldn't be to fight with this giant beast. Wu Li thought for a moment. From the image, this giant beast's range of activity is very limited. As long as the contestants don't enter its territory, it won't take the initiative to run out and kill the contestants. On the announcement, 376 names have already dimmed. The heavenly devil old man knocked on the table with his finger. But fortunately, Qing Tong and Xiao Han are safe and sound. What will the first assessment be about? Fang Ling frowned deeply. Chapter 168. In the lush valley where the wisterias were intertwined, Xiao Han sat cross-legged, and had already entered the perfect state of no one and no me. Golden light radiated from his body and his bones seemed to be plated with a layer of gold. His entire body was like a solemn golden Buddha. Xiao Han was immersed in comprehending the emotion-shattering stance and desire-shattering stance of the seven-fragment saber art. When Xiao Han slashed out with his saber, he could destroy happiness, anger, eyes, and ears. However, he was still far from the supreme realm of completely forgetting the 7 emotions and 6 desires with a single slash. His saber dominated the world and the 6 paths of destruction. Xiao Han could vaguely guess that as long as he shattered all his emotions and 6 desires, he would probably be able to reach the threshold of greater success in his saber intent. Xiao Han had already mastered the 3rd transformation of the 9 revolutions divine art. He could open up the 3rd wave of virtual acupoints and cultivate the 4th quintessential Qi cultivation technique. However, Xiao Han only had the great heaven-incinerating true Qi that he had obtained from the fiend hero Nangong Yi. However, this quintessential Qi was no longer enough to move Xiao Han. Therefore, Xiao Han could only leave the 3rd wave of virtual acupoints idle for the time being. He had to obtain a supreme-grade quintessential Qi cultivation technique before he could cultivate it. Fatty Zhu was still digging a hole. He had already dug out a huge pit that was 60 to 70 feet deep and 10 feet wide. Mo Qingtong and Hua Fan had already brought back many fish, shrimps, and crabs. There were also coconuts, lychees, and melons. Xiao Yunrong used a shell the size of a wash basin to fill it with coconut juice. She put in the fish and shrimps and began to cook it. Not long after, the coconut juice boiled and crackled softly. The rich fragrance of seafood filled the air, whetting one's appetite. Junior brother Xiao Han, come and eat, Hua Fan called out to Xiao Han with a smile. Ah, it's time to eat? Fatty Zhu jumped out of the deep pit. Everyone sat around and used bamboo sticks as chopsticks as they ate heartily. Even in such a dangerous atmosphere, the 3 women were still extremely elegant as they ate. As for Xiao Han and Fatty Zhu, they wolfed down their food, causing the 3 women to giggle. After the meal, Fatty Zhu burped and stood up, pointing at the deep pit that had been dug. The pit has been dug. It's big enough for the 5 of us. Why don't we go down and try it out? No need. Xiao Han smiled faintly. Fatty, you can keep this pit for yourself. I don't need to fall into it. Damn Fatty, go and bury yourself alive. Mo Qingtong glanced at Fatty Zhu disdainfully, then said to Xiao Han in a charming voice, Brother Xiao, tell Qingtong how to break that damn Fatty's move, how about it? Xiao Han said firmly. I can't say. Mo Qingtong gritted her teeth in hatred. Xiao Yunrong and Hua Gang could not help laughing. They also wouldn't hide in the deep pit that Fatty Zhu had dug. This made Fatty Zhu ask for trouble. The sky was turning dark. Xiao Han started a bonfire in the valley. The light from the fire shone on everyone's faces, flickering. There was a full moon in the sky, its clear radiance sprinkling down like a dream. Mo Qingtong suddenly smiled. I'm afraid that the demon sovereign will not come tonight. The test will most likely begin tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Moreover, with our determination, we should be able to calmly deal with the pressure of the demon sovereign's demonic aura. Now that we have nothing to do, let's talk about why everyone wants to become Yaoxia. Qingtong first. Qingtong's purpose of becoming a Yaoxia is to explore those legendary secret realms and those great ancient countries full of legends. I want to take revenge. Hua Gang hesitated for a moment but still whispered it out. I want to become an immortal. Fatty Zhu smiled foolishly. I heard from father that this continent once had the footprints of immortals. Immortals are immortal, the sun and moon decay, but immortals are immortal, the heaven and earth are destroyed, but immortals will never be obliterated. To become an immortal, one must first become a Yaoxia, otherwise there will never be a chance. Xiao Yunrong tidied up her hair, thought for a moment, and then said, the reason why Yunrong wants to become a Yaoxia is actually to pursue the peak of the sword Dao. Although Mingjian Villa has thousands of sword manuals, there are no real supreme secret manuals of the sword Dao in Mingjian Villa. Moreover, it can only be encountered, not sought. If one can become a Yaoxia, there will be many opportunities to obtain supreme and supreme secret manuals of the divine sword. Brother Xiao, what about you? Mo Qingtong's eyes were like priceless black gems in the moonlight, shining with demonic light and charming people's hearts. She stared at Xiao Han. The others also turned to look at him. Meh. Xiao Han touched his nose. The reason why I want to become a Yaoxia is very simple. This world is very big. If I don't become a Yaoxia, I will always be the lowest level of a frog in a well, and I will live a mediocre life until I die. Besides, I also want to pursue the peak of the martial Dao. Another reason is that I like to exterminate the demon clan. Hearing Xiao Han's words, Mo Qingtong and the others nodded. I hope that all of us can become Yao Xia and make our dreams come true. Mo Qingtong smiled. At this moment, what's going on? The true qi in my body is in disorder. It seems that I have read the demon qi. Xiao Yunrong exclaimed. My true qi has also read the demon qi. Gang immediately echoed. Mo Qingtong and Fatty Zhu stood up at the same time and looked at each other. Xiao Han also clearly felt that the true qi in his 31 true acupoints was boiling, as if it was about to leave his acupoints. Instinctive fighting spirit spread throughout his body. It's the demon qi. Xiao Han also stood up. Once a human martial artist cultivated to the true qi realm, the true qi in his true acupoints could automatically read the nearby demon qi and discover the demon clan. Rustle, 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 the demon wind came. The lush primitive vegetation on the island was swept by the demon wind, producing the rustling sound of a zither. An obscure and profound pressure enveloped the entire island without a sound or presence. Soon voices rose and fell from all directions. There were sounds of shock and curses. Mo Qingtong closed her eyes slightly. When she opened her eyes, her expression became extremely solemn as she whispered, "What a strong demon qi." Qingtong once participated in an operation to kill a demon emperor with master. But the demon emperor's aura was far from this powerful and ferocious. What level of great demon is this? Roar, a demon roar came from afar. This demon roar was earth-shattering, fierce and ferocious, shattering mountains and rivers. The bright stars and moon suddenly dimmed. Patches of scarlet demon clouds covered the sky and covered the sun. The clouds moved in all directions, destroying heaven and earth. Roar, another demon roar shook the sea water in this area. Tens of thousands of tons soared into the sky, creating a huge tsunami. All the ferocious beasts on the island buried their heads deep into the soil, trembling uneasily and letting out despairing cries. A large black shadow slowly flew towards the island from the sky. Kiki, 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 kikik. The extremely lewd demon laughter was enough to destroy any human's nerves and will. Bang 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 bang. Mo Qingtong, Fatty Zhu, Xiao Yunrong and Hoi Yang couldn't control their true qi. It spurted out of their bodies and became a mess. Moreover, their hearts were beating crazily in their chests, making heavy hammering sounds causing them to feel dizzy. Their faces were already flushed and their foreheads were covered in sweat. The entire island began to be in chaos. The demon roar continued, causing the island to shake. There was a sign that it was about to disintegrate. Large amounts of seawater poured into the island, drowning everything. At this moment, the crippled old man's voice sounded. Cough cough. Cough cough cough. Little fellows, there's a little accident in the assessment. The assessment that was originally scheduled to be held tomorrow or the day after tomorrow has been brought forward to tonight. Oh, by the way, there's another small accident. The content of the assessment has changed. The demon emperor that passed by the island this time was not an ordinary demon emperor, but a mutated demon emperor with a noble bloodline. You don't know what a mutated demon emperor is, right? It's a terrifying creature that's close to the great demon emperor. It kills human true energy realm 6th and 7th dan demonic beasts in a matter of seconds, and it can shatter earth veins with a single finger. Also, I can't guarantee that it won't take the initiative to attack you puny fellows. Good luck to yourselves, good luck to yourselves. If you really can't take it anymore, you can escape to the pier on the west side of the island and take a ship back. There's a formation engraved on the ship that can trap deep-sea giant beasts and demon clan powerhouses to ensure that you can escape. However, once you escape from the island, it will be regarded as automatically giving up this year's Devil Hero trial. You will be eliminated. Okay, the first assessment of this year's Devil Hero trial officially begins now. What? Not only did they suddenly bring forward the assessment to tonight, but it's also a mutated demon emperor? Fatty Zhu cursed. F***CK. Cripple. You tricked us. Oh no. No wonder the demon chi is so strong. It turns out to be a mutated demon emperor. Mo Qingtong's face turned pale. Qingtong once heard from Master that a mutated demon emperor is a great noble among the demon clan. Ordinary demon emperors can't transform and grow into demon emperors. But a mutated demon emperor can. Even Master doesn't have the confidence to kill a mutated demon emperor alone. We're doomed. Roar. The demonic roars grew more and more resounding and blazing, demonic chi surged, evil chi was overbearing and demonic talismans blotted out the sky like flames, suppressing the numerous participants on the island to the point they almost lost their minds, causing the true chi in their entire bodies to go berserk, causing them to actually seem as if they'd suffered from chi deviation, and it even caused them to surge with the terrifying desire to commit suicide. Puff, 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 beams of glazed light shot into the island, and the whole island was colorful, beautiful and gorgeous to the extreme. These pure and flawless beams of light were actually waves of demonic chi. They were like smoke signals, like thousands of swords shooting at the same time. Roar! Finally, a huge black shadow floated in the air above the island. The black cloak was fluttering in the demon wind. The stars and moon had been completely obscured, and its appearance couldn't be seen clearly. However, it was 30 feet tall with a pair of bat-like wings. Its eyes were orange, emitting the most evil demon light that could destroy the world. Roar! With a roar, a large number of primitive trees on the island were uprooted. The boulders floated and softened, quickly turning into stone powder that splattered everywhere. The entire island was in a mess. A soul-stirring and deafening demon roar obliterated the night sky. The sea was completely boiling and tsunamis and ocean storms erupted. There was even a terrifying sound of stars disintegrating. The island was in danger, like a lonely boat in the raging waves. The glazed demonic aura was like ancient evil dragons, roaring and scurrying around the island. That black shadow continued to let out demonic roars and terrifying demonic laughter, using its demonic aura to engulf the entire island. Fortunately, it had not taken the initiative to launch any physical attacks. Otherwise, the entire island would crumble into dust in an instant, and none of the participants would be able to survive. I can't take it anymore. Fatty Zhu covered his ears with both hands, and the fat on his face rolled like waves. True chi surged out of his body, washing the ground. He was gradually losing control of himself. Xiao Yunrong and Hua Xiao also ran around in fear. Mo Qingtong held on for a moment, but she also lost control of her mind and was about to go crazy. At this moment, Xiao Han's acupoints were all open, and his true chi was spewing everywhere uncontrollably. However, his expression was very strange. It was filled with doubt and surprise. This isn't right. Xiao Han touched his forehead. At this moment, although his true chi had been suppressed by the surging demonic aura, the demon egg hibernating in Xiao Han's heart did not move at all. It seemed extremely quiet. One had to know that the demon egg in Xiao Han's heart was blessed with the ability to sense demonic aura. It was many times more accurate than using true chi to read demonic aura. Even demons who had taken treasured medicines to conceal their demonic aura would not be able to escape the demon egg's senses. However, at this moment, when facing the mutated demon emperor with boundless demonic aura, the demon egg in Xiao Han's heart was as still as water. Even the demon emperor's palm tattoo on Xiao Han's left arm was calm. I know. A thought flashed through Xiao Han's mind. I know the purpose of this assessment. There's no such thing as a mutated demon emperor. It's all fake. This round is to test the contestants' ability to distinguish demonic aura at a deeper level. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.